All right, up for a special live stream today.
So the burning question is, how do you say my name?
Yeah, how do you say this?
Rauðvik.
Okay.
And now you all know, I don't care if you roll your R or not. It doesn't matter. But if you would prefer Danny.
Okay. I'm probably going to use Danny. Just
That's fine.
Until I get enough practice.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I probably will still never get it quite right. But.
So, what we're going to talk about today is how to basically build a full song using just the wave state.
Awesome.
What we have running right now is a pad, and that's just one layer of a song that I built. Haven't recorded it yet, but we're getting there.
Excellent. So just before we go too far, we've talked on the channel before about the architecture of the wave state, but just to reiterate or to refresh, the wave state has 4 layers in a performance, and each one is essentially a synthesizer unto itself, and similar to the multi-poly, has the same kind of architecture. And so this lends itself to being able to create an entire song in one instrument.
Right.
In any other instrument, I would call it multi-timbral, and it really is multi-timbral
In its own way, and it's just a matter of how you want to do that.
Right.
You know, in my case, I split. You know, so there are very hard lines in between. This layer's here, this layer's here,
Right.
and so on up and down the keyboard. But
Right.
you can overlap them too if you want.
You can overlap them, and you can also set each one to its own MIDI channel, so that it responds in a true multi-timbral manner.
Right.
Which we've done on the channel. We did that with the multi-poly. I haven't actually shown that with the wave state, but it works in exactly the same way if you go back through and look at the previous show, or the previous show where I did showed the multi-poly as a multi-timbral synth. There are some caveats to the way it works and the way you have to set it up, but you can do 4-part multi-timbral in either the wave state or the multi-poly. So back to how you've got the layers, within the wave state setup.
So what we're looking at right now is layer C is a pad of synth and choir sounds together.
And you've got that active because we can go ahead and bring that up while we're talking. I can actually show the whole thing if I hit that guy.
Right. So where we are right now is layer C. This is my slow pad sound, and what I usually do is run these sequences extremely slowly. And if you look at the timing lane, they're all, the shortest value is a dotted whole note, and that's running at 50 BPM. So these note values will last a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The crossfades tend to be a pretty long. I need to just select a step. Right. At a minimum, I usually do about 2.69 seconds for a crossfade, so it's very, very smooth. Mm-hmm. And when it's running that slow, obviously you're going to hear different sounds, but you're not going to hear that transition in between them.
Right.
It's just the perfect blend. So
I'm going to do me a favor, minimize that browser window that's behind. Yeah, there we go.
So now, in addition to this, and what I want to draw attention to is the key zones. For the pads, I usually give them somewhere between 2 and 3 octaves. I like to have a good range. And the other secret to this is that each note starts its own sequence, or each keystroke starts its own sequence. And all of these lanes, the timing, the sample, the pitch, everything, they all run in random order.
Okay.
So every note that you hit, it's not, the tonic for this song is a G. It's not going to start on a G. It can start on a harmony somewhere, or and there are probabilities for each of these different semitone values.
Right.
The fifth is usually the highest.
Okay.
The octave and the tonic are always 100. And then through here I have, because this is Mixolydian flat 6.
Okay.
You have your minor 6th, your minor 7th. Because it's a form of Mixolydian, I gave the 7th a higher probability value than I usually do. That's usually way down there.
Right.
But then you have your 3rd and your 4th. And they're all pretty close together because I wanted to have all these harmonic values up the scale.
And just so folks looking, where he's setting those values are over on the left side there. You've got the probability and percentage that step is going to hit.
Right.
And then to the left, we're transposing in semitones from the tonic.
Right. So on a pad layer, like I said, I usually give about 2-3 octaves. And then for a Berlin school song, which this ultimately is, and we'll bring in more layers as we're talking here. If you look down here, I have layer A and layer B limited to just one specific note.
Right.
And those will start on a tonic.
Okay.
Because on a bass sequence, I kind of can't have that running in random order. It has to.
Right.
It has to be the way that it is. Layer B is just a pedal bass, so it's just going to sit on a G the entire time with modulations to make the sound interesting. And then layer D is a melody of sorts, and those are the most complicated and complex things to build.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of choice that goes into the sounds. They all have to sound nice together. And then picking your, setting up the pitch lane, even though that's pretty cut and dry, it just takes time.
Right.
There are no probabilities in pitch on that one. It's going to hit every one, but in a random order.
Gotcha.
The timing is a pain.
Okay.
Because it's not... The rhythm of the melody line will phase in and out with the bass line.
Gotcha.
But it still rhythmically makes sense. It doesn't become utter chaos. So, I'm going to hope... I'm going to hit the pedal bass and the bass line now and bring them in, so y'all can hear what's going on. And there's the pedal. Now, with layer A, which is my bass line.
What? Did you want to perform the piece, and then we'll talk about how it's put together? Let's do that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back so they can watch this on the screen and view. Oops, wrong one. There we go.
And then I just need to get to the page for the Wavestate. PG. Mod map values now.
It's not? Was it? It was earlier. Are we? Yes, we are on the P layer. You didn't change the...
I didn't change anything.
No, yeah. So, no, I say we already know you didn't change the default values for the knobs. So.
Mm-hmm.
Stand by. Let me make sure I didn't unroute something in Ableton. You guys will continue to watch this while I look at the DAW. Those who watch the channel regularly know I do this a bunch of times. That LF, by the way, that was what was driving that knob.
Oh, the timing knob.
The LFO
okay.
for the video was driving the timing knob. So we're wave state. There, now you should have it. It wasn't in focus. Yeah, you got knobs now.
It's as easy as that.
All right.
Relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking.
So
let me go back to the regular shot here. Automation is grand when it works.
Oh yeah, it's great. So a lot of the trickery in what I do is there's a lot of automation and modulation happening just underneath the surface. There's a lot of LFO routing, a lot of LFO routing, and they're all random. Like I rarely ever go for a triangle or something like that unless it is glacially slow. And something that I tried with this one, which you can see in layer D with the step sequencer lane, and if you look at the resonance that it's jumping all over the place, that's why. So that's being routed through the step sequencer lane. So every time you hit one of these values, it's a 60% overall jump, and then it's a proportion thereof.
Okay.
Yeah, so plus 50 would be like you were hitting 30% up on the resonance, and then you just, go from there. Basically, it prevents me from having to route the resonance to one of the mod knobs or turning the resonance knob itself and basically just gumming up my performance. I like to have as much of it as possible just in a way that is not going to interrupt what you can see on the hardware screen of whatever layer I'm looking at, whatever sequence is running. I like to have that performance screen on. It becomes less distracting for me that way than to, if I turn the resonance knob and it jumps to the filter screen and then I have to go back. Right. It prevents that.
Gotcha.
And just like with the melody layer in layer D, the bass line in layer A has the same thing going on, that there are those resonant jumps, that come in here and there, and the delay really catches those.
Mm-hmm.
Same deal, that's going through the step sequencer lane as well. And that is something, once you learn how to use that, it becomes really helpful with the mod wave, because it has 4 of those.
Ooh,
lanes A, B, C, and D, and same on the multi-poly as well. Lanes A, B, C, and D are like the step sequencer lane. You can route them to anything.
And I likened them. I don't know if you've seen it or used it all, but I've likened the sequencer and the multi-poly anyway. It's kind of like the SQ64 hardware sequencer.
Kind of.
Yeah, and in the way that the lanes are laid out anyway. You've got, I think, more flexibility with the multi-poly.
Yeah.
But it's similar in concept to the SQ64.
And an experiment that I did with mod wave recently, which is really interesting if you're up for trying it out, it quickly becomes chaos, is to your timing values. So let's say you said you have one timing lane step, and you set that step to like a whole note.
Okay.
You can modify that with an LFO. So it goes faster, it goes slower, depending on where your LFO is, and if you have a random LFO, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But, again, if you don't reel that in, it can get nuts
I was saying,
really fast.
Get out of hand real fast.
Right. Now, what's really cool about how that, and the multi-poly too, the way that they're set up, is if you do that, where your timing lane is just one step being modified by an LFO, your other lanes will be forced to run at whatever speed the timing lane is currently set to based on the LFO. So if you route the position of a wavetable into lane A, for example, and modify that like I did with the resonance on the step sequencer lane, so that as it moves through lane A, the hi synth seeker, I'm rauðvik. Now you know how to say it. If you modify the position of a wavetable with lane A, just give it some values up and down, and have your default position set to 50. As your lane A runs, your position will go up and down, and then as your timing lane goes faster and slower based on the LFO, it'll just jump like crazy. Yeah. It's really cool. But something to sort of, like I said, reel in. Because if you have your timing lane go too fast,
it'll get right out of control.
It'll go way out of control, and it'll just sound like garbage. Yeah.
Now, I do stuff like that a lot in Pigments or in Vital. I do that kind of thing regularly.
Right. I will take that as a compliment. Thank you. So what I would like to do, now that we've kind of, again, it was a short version of this song, because the full length of that performance is like anything else I do, anywhere between 25 minutes and a half hour.
Right.
Because the way that this one starts is the pedal bass and the bass line, that goes for a few minutes, and I start bringing in the pads, and then the melody comes in, and then I play with the vector and stuff like that, fade things in and out, and just let each layer have its own chance to breathe.
Sure.
So, again, a very truncated version of ARP84, but I'm okay with that, because what I would love to do while we're sitting here is to, and I mean, we can do this in native, it'd be fine.
Okay.
I would love to sit here and see if we can get you, like, at least a bass line for a Berlin school.
Sure.
Sort of thing. And that's why I gave you the program component for this.
Right. We'll have to move that over to the
native.
Machine. Yeah.
Right. But if you see here, underneath ARP84, layer A.
Go ahead.
Yeah, layer A is labeled as Berlin bass, because I didn't feel like rebuilding the sound over and over again.
Okay.
Especially as far as the envelopes are concerned. by having that, that's not going to bring in the sequence work and all that stuff. That's just going to bring in the sound, the envelopes, the delay, you know, and things like that. That's all.
The patch.
Right, basically, without the reverb, you know, and things like that.
Right, because as with many Korgs, the reverb in all of these, in their architecture, the reverb is global. And each individual layer has its own delay and modulation effects, but they all feed into a global equalizer and reverb.
And that's another thing I should point out, that at least in my patches, I think I've used it on one where I needed some extra bass. I rarely use the EQ on the Wavestate itself.
Right.
I just do that in Bitwig.
Right.
You know, after
I'm the same way.
Yeah, after things have been recorded, I listen back to it, and you know, then I can pick out, okay, I need more low, I need more mids, you know, duck this, boost that, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't typically do EQ within a synth. Although I did a lot on the Kronos when I was using that for performance. I would do EQ. I would do a master EQ on the synth, but
yeah, far be it for me to remember the patch that actually that I needed to EQ a little bit on the synth itself. The low just disappeared, and there was nothing I could do about it without boosting it a little bit. But yeah, I've built almost 120 patches on here, so it's a lot to keep track of.
Yeah. So if we want to move the that bass over to the DAW computer, we'll need to pull the thumb drive out of that and move it to native to the other machine.
That'd be fine.
To import. So let's see. While we're clicky as I move my headphone thing out of the way, I'm going to move this over to. No, I want to do this. I don't have a window open. Oh, I need that. This machine. What we did was we loaded his patches and programs and performance into my hardware Wavestate, which is, as those who watch the channel regularly know, on a separate computer from the DAW. So what I need to do is pull his thumb drive off of there, and I want to do it cleanly. If I can find it here, and I'm going to eject that cleanly so we don't blow anything up while we're moving things around, and then we're going to import that into the eject, not format. There we go. Okay, so you can have that back. I can now pull. Oh, you can close that window too.
Okay.
Pull that out, and so on that rack to the right behind the iPad is a USB hub.
Just any of them?
Any port's fine. Okay, and we'll show this on the screen. So we're going to go ahead and pop the DAW up, and let's see, we have a Wavestate native track here. Oh, it's thinking about the drive. Yay, Windows. I hope it's thinking about the drive. Spinny, spinny. Really, Windows? Come on. Okay. Well, it sees it. Is it going to read it? Huh. I know I'm talking to things on that hub because MIDI is working and audio is working. Well, MIDI is working. At least I think MIDI is working. Yeah, MIDI is working. I'm seeing data.
Should it be up in here?
No.
Okay.
No, that's not a hub there.
Okay.
That's the Mio X, he's asking about putting into a port on the Mio XL, and the Mio XL USB ports are MIDI host ports only, unfortunately. I wonder why it's taken so long to read. Yeah, Windows is not liking that. Let's see. Now, I'm going to try something else. Let's see. Oh, that was a sound.
That's an automated filter ping.
I was going to say, I want to make sure I didn't.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's crazy, while I'm thinking about this other thing, one thing that's crazy about the Control S is this is hard mapped to volume.
Okay.
And if I touch that, it'll kill the volume on
Right.
the synth. And this thing is really not. Now Ableton Live is locked up too. Okay. So, stand by, folks. I'm going to put a graphic up while I try and sort some of this stuff out. And I'm going to douse the mics so you don't hear me cursing so much, although that's all locked up too. I don't know even if I have control over that. Yeah, I see that. I hear you, Luke. No, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to put this on a Windows problem, not an Ableton Live problem. So stand by for me, folks. We will be back shortly. And I can't even mute the mics. Nice.
Do you want me to pop it out?
Yeah, go ahead and pop it out. And okay, we have control of the computer back, so let me take that out, and let's see if I can figure out another place we're going to plug this in. What can I... another place to get to the USB for the main computer. Let's see. What is safe to disconnect? Not this. Okay, this will either work or not. That's better.
There it is.
All right.
So, is this something that I can copy and paste, or can I import it from Native?
You should be able to import it directly with Native.
Okay, if we pull up Native, then I don't have to dive through this whole jump drive.
Okay, let me jump back over to the DAW then, and go here and here. All right. No, use that one.
Okay, got it. And then the control for importing, because I've never used Native before, believe it or not.
Import is not here. Import on Native is going to be, oh shoot, librarian. It does have to be librarian. And over here in such a stupid place. Okay.
And there's everything. That's what we need.
Okay. And then back out to, here we go.
Edit.
Okay.
So now, if you want to, we could actually try to build you a Berlin bass sequence.
Okay, let's do it.
So all we would need to do, at least to get the sound in, just go here. Now we have the sound.
So now we have the sound.
That just brought in a pad.
Let's see. Oh, because I have the. We still have the.
We still have that performance
Nope,
running.
Nope. Yeah, the performance is running. We can turn that down from here. Just leave it low in the background there.
Right. So now, what key do you want?
Well, the project here is set up in D minor.
Okay. So, with the way that I build these, you would just need a D, and that's it, you know.
Okay.
Because effectively what's going to happen is the wave sequence is going to play your bass sequence.
Okay.
Because what we're doing is we're using a wave sequence with a single multi-sample instead of having this in single multi-sample mode, if that makes any sense.
Yep, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
It may not make sure it makes sense to folks out there. So let's show what's going on in that layer.
So you have two modes here. You have wave sequence or multi-sample.
Okay.
Typically with a wave sequence you would use multiple different samples and have them transition between, you know, each sound. In this case, because we're building a bass loop, we have one sound, but
and
we're going to have different pitches and things like that.
And that sample is loaded right here.
Right. And if you want a different bass sound, I'm partial to X bass. It fits Berlin School really, really well.
That's fine. We'll use
and
that.
when you have, you know, these resonant peaks and things like that, it hits just right.
Okay, let's roll with it.
So, do you want? You have your project running at 80.
I have it running at. Well, I backed it down,
to
50,
50,
so we could drive the clock.
Do this.
I can roll it back up to. I usually use like 80 something, so we can roll the time back up to. Let's do. 83 is a number.
So, when you're dealing with something like this and you're wanting to build something based on a tempo, it is easier to switch the timing lane into tempo mode.
Right.
And then the other thing with something like this is we will need to turn off the crossfade.
Okay.
Which that should be over here.
Yep.
Crossfade set to time, so you just turn that off.
Right.
Because otherwise it'll be the same sound, but it's not going to sound right.
Right.
You know,
you crossfading between.
Right. It'll be crossfading between the notes and not sounds.
Right.
So now, what really is a challenge with this, and how you have to think about the sequencer in a very, very different way, and the same with the multi-poly and the mod wave, is you're not thinking of it as I want a dotted quarter note, for example, meaning that's 5/16 notes.
Right.
No. That's a dotted quarter note, that's one step.
Right.
And
that pushes time off for the following step.
Right. So what you really need to do is to come up with a line that you like and count how many notes there are in it, and that's your timing lane and your pitch lane. Because for how many pitches you play, that's how many steps you need in your pitch lane, and then you have to construct your timing lane to match the rhythm in your head.
Right.
So
it's all offsets from the start of time.
Right. Exactly correct. Which that was the thing with the Wavestate that took me the longest to really grasp when I was building these sequences. I actually had to watch a good number of tutorials about it to really get it to sink in. Well,
and I've said on the stream, the thing that you drove me to start looking a little deeper, and there was a video by Ian Dixon that I watched.
I watch all of his stuff.
His stuff is great.
It's invaluable.
It really is. But I watched one of his videos, and quite literally, the light bulbs lit up all over my head. I'm like, oh, it was like instant clarity.
for Berlin School, the user that the YouTube user that I looked into is Qui Rabinez, I believe is how he pronounces his name. He's Dutch.
Okay.
And just, he talks you through both how to get the bass sounding right, which is kind of how I came up with where I am now, plus some modulations of my own to make it my own. And then how to think about the sequencer in the proper way,
right,
so that you're not stuck here. I played this in, why is it not coming back at me the way that I want it to?
Right.
Because the sequencer itself is so totally different.
So totally different, yeah. So I'm going to ask the question real quick. You say he's Dutch. Is his channel in English, or I'm going to have to have you come down here and translate?
Have to come down here and translate the language of my people? No, no. He does speak in English, but with a heavy accent.
That's okay. I can do accents.
Okay. But yeah, his work, especially as regards, how do you use the Wavestate to make Berlin School music, is perfect for that.
Okay, great.
So, like I said, the challenge of this is to come up with a bass line that, well, the nice thing about Berlin School is it's just sus chords in a seventh.
Right.
So for tonic, second, fourth, fifth, minor seventh, and the octave. Nice and easy. But it's coming up with something that's rhythmically interesting, but not boring at the same time.
Right.
And the modulations do help with that. All this stuff running behind the scenes will help with that not being boring. It's just, I struggle with that a lot. I'll have something that I think is great. I'll play it on loop a couple times. Well, I hate this. Time to start over again.
Well, I'm working on a non-Berlin School song at the moment, and there's one section I'm not, the working copy, the bass tone in that section is just pedal tones, but it needs to do something there.
Right.
And it's like, I got something in there now, but it's like, it's still a placeholder. And I think once I get I've got a lyricist working on lyrics for it. Once I get the lyrics back, I think that might help me drive the bass line a little better.
Okay.
But it's just like, a bass player would be doing something here besides just going boom, boom,
right,
boom, boom.
Right. So let me blow this back up again, if
sure. And we'll get the chat out of the way.
Look at where's the keyboard set up with splits and everything.
Keyboard setup with splits is that is in zones and scales.
Okay.
I'm pointing at the folks. I'm pointing at the screen. You can't see that, but.
See, right now, you do have a sequence running.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just not an interesting one at the moment.
Right. It's the default sequence.
Right.
Is,
right. So that'd be D0, I believe. I would need that keyboard, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
if you put low at D0.
D0. Oh, I need a dash in there, don't I? Okay.
And then high at D0.
Okay.
Now that's going to be too low for a Berlin-based tonic. So what you can do with that, and the reason I do it this way is because it sort of gets that keystroke out of the way of anything else that might be going on.
Okay.
So, and now I'm having that moment of like, oh wait, we didn't play a bass line in yet. We're going to need to actually work on that.
Right.
So we're going to need more keys. If you don't mind putting that back to G9 for now.
Sure.
I know that D0 is where we're going to want to be eventually. So I did that.
Now, see, when I'm working in Ableton, a lot of times I'll just draw these things in.
Right.
So I'm already thinking in what's the offset to the next. So my mind works that way. It's like I know, okay, we're going to do tonic, and then we're going to do, the sixth and the second and the.
There we go. So we'll eventually be a D0 and we'll start there, but I offset the octave by 1.
Okay.
So you get a nicer fundamental note that it'll start at and come back to.
Okay.
So now, if you want to get crazy, I'll let you figure out a bass sequence. That might sound good to you.
Let's see. A lot of times I'll do this too with an arpeggiator,
right?
And I'll hold the bass, and
the arpeggiator will do the
work. The arpeggiator will do the thing, and then I'll hit where I want it to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's keep it simple. Just do simple 3-note.
Right.
So
or down to
G.
Down to the fourth.
Down to the fourth. So
and then you just have to figure out. So it'll be a 3-step timing.
3-step timing. Yep.
Whoops.
Oops.
Get out of there. 3-step timing. 3-step pitch.
Okay.
So let's figure out what's going to be most important is, well, the pitches.
The pitch.
Honestly.
So drag that guy out. Yep. And that's 7, right?
No, 7 is the 5th, so that's 8. The minor.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the
right,
minor
right.
6th is
it's the 7th.
Right. So transpose.
I think you can actually just type in here.
Yeah.
It's not exactly what you would expect, though.
And that's 5.
And we wanted actually the 4th.
5 is the 4th.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Now we just need to make that rhythmically a little bit interesting.
Right. So we're going to, which is up to the timing lane. Let's see.
I mean, at 80, at 83.
What if you do a whole?
And we could try holes on.
Start with holes on all 3.
On all of them. See how long they last, and we can go from there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good starting point.
Hold on. The other thing I need to look at and just make sure is the filter envelope, which is right here.
Yeah, we have clock. Oh, did we stop and restart? Did we stop clock? No, clock should be running. You've got this written for a faster.
I have it written for faster note values. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So if I get into the filter envelope itself.
Filter envelope is that guy.
Okay. Yeah, you can see how fast that drops to absolutely nothing. So let's just.
So we're going to need to adjust the delay feedback as well as
the
part
delay
of this.
Feedback and the decay.
Yep.
I do have the resonance modulated by an LFO.
No, I heard something strange. That's why. not in the audio,
Okay.
but in the room.
Let's go back to the timing lane really quick and maybe have those.
Yeah, for now, yeah.
And now I'd say you don't really even have to modulate the delay.
Right, and change that one to a whole. The third one to a whole. I'm pointing at the screen again.
Yeah. Let me add a little more decay on that too.
Good starting point.
Yeah.
I think ordinarily I'd probably do 5 notes, but that's a good starting point.
And you don't need to get too crazy right off the bat.
Right. So one thing that I, just in knowing how it's timed, the way you designed it and the way we're using it,
right.
Still going to want to go to effects, to the delay, and bring the feedback up a little bit.
Right. So
the timing is still good.
Yeah, the timing I think is great. This is my favorite delay, by the way.
Oh yeah,
the stereo cross, yeah. And specifically for Berlin bass, the 8th to 8th dot HPF. Solid stuff. So the feedback. How much do we want to add to it?
So yeah, okay. So yeah, I can do it. This is one thing that I think is really interesting in these delays, is that the controls, the 1, 2, 3 controls up there are actually macros, in a way.
Right,
touching
and
the
you
other
can
controls.
dig into them in the editor too,
Yeah.
but it's a little more menu divey than
Yeah.
just popping up on screen. Like, I really like to have access to all this right away.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a change.
Okay.
We're gonna go back to the timing lane because I hear something a little different now. So let's go back here. I'm actually gonna bring. Come on.
Or do you need to add a step?
Oh, I need to add a step. I take this one to a half, and this one to a half also, I think. And we're going to take and that, bring that out, because I want that last note to hit twice.
Okay. That longer decay when the resonance peaks just right, that's nice.
You've got velocity on there too, to some extent, don't you?
Just by default.
Okay.
You know, I haven't actually gone in and edited any of that. It looks like, yeah, it's just at the default 50%.
Just the default, okay.
Yeah, because I usually, I do play very gently a lot of the time, so if I put the velocity way up, it's not going to do anything.
Right.
And if I take it way down, it's way too loud, no matter what I do. So I find that just leaving it at 50% really works for me.
Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah. That's honestly, there's beauty in simplicity.
Yeah.
Because usually mine, as you heard in the other performance, like my pitch and timing lane gets to be pretty long.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that way. That's just usually for me to stay interested for more than about 2 or 3 loops is kind of what I need.
Well, one of the things with the way that people are typing things. What's going on here? Okay. Luke is feeding Bubba. Greatest dog on the planet. Okay, so one of the things that and so I learned a lot about constructing Berlin school music from Luke, Synthseeker, and so one of the things that I like to do is some of the sequences are very short. They're 2, 3, 4 notes. Some of them may be 10 notes.
Yeah,
and they kind of phase through one another and get and things move in time, and that's what keeps interesting to me.
Right.
So the bass lines, though, they're providing a foundation along with a pad that might go along with it.
Which, for me, and in the performance that I had up here, the bass line is not impossibly complex, but complex enough. But that ends up, if we switch back to the editor, that ends up complementing this incredibly nicely. This is the quote-unquote melody layer. Not terribly complex here. I mean, a couple of dots, but you can't go too crazy with that or it makes no rhythmical sense.
Right.
What becomes important here is look at how many different sounds I'm switching through.
Right.
And then the range as well. Up 2 octaves. And then I need to switch the view
to
pitch to 32.
Okay.
Up 2, down 2.
Gotcha.
And all of that is moving at random. Like, all of it.
Yeah. As you watch, you can see the green square that's bouncing around in that lane is what the pitch offsets are at any given moment.
And that's another thing that I really had to learn, and it took some time for that to really sink in with the Wavestate, is that as long as you program your pitches properly, no matter what note you play, it'll be in key.
Right.
So if you want it to be in D, just play a D.
Right.
If you want E flat, play E flat, and
it
so on and so forth up and down the scale.
It'll do the rest.
Right, it'll do the rest for you. But that also took some time to get used to.
Yeah.
That's like, I am not actually playing in a key, I'm just giving it a tonic and then it offsets.
Right. Yeah, that was a thing for me. I do a lot of that kind of thing with Stepic, and it works the same way. Everything is an offset from tonic, and it has a scale aware mode as well. So,
what I know in here, you can set a scale, and there are a lot of options, but
Yeah.
I just don't even play with that. If I want an odd scale, I'll set it in the pitch lane.
Right.
And just do it that way. But the difference that I also want to point out, because we were talking about this, I think, before we went live, is in my pad layer. These pitch, we talked about probabilities.
Yes.
In this one, everything is 100%.
Gotcha.
It'll hit every pitch, but
At some
not
point or
in any
another.
discernible order.
Right.
But that is when you get to the point, if you'd want to try something like this, the real challenge of it is not putting together the timing and the pitch. It is picking all these samples and finding ones that work really nicely together that you can then shape your filter, your resonance, and do all that stuff, and everything still sounds nice.
Yeah, I've started to get into that with the 3 or 4 pads that I've been doing.
Right. But the challenge with this is that with a pad, it'll sit and sustain, and in a way, it's almost more important to find those sweet spots that everything sounds right together.
Yeah.
With that one, sometimes it's moving so fast that the sound comes and goes before you've really fully processed it. But if you notice while I was performing it, one of the macro knobs was actually tuned to the amp decay for that particular set of sounds, so they would ring out longer.
Gotcha.
So you still have to be very careful and very exacting about, well, these sound together, sound right together.
Right.
But it's one of those things with practice.
You
Really start to get an idea of, A, this is the sort of soundscape that I have in my head, and B, you're able to just sit down and know this is the set of sounds I'm going to pick from for it.
Right. Yeah, a lot of times when I'm doing anything, I will design the sounds for the piece, so I know they're all going to fit together in some way. Now, I'm not necessarily changing sounds in a sequence over time, but obviously making sounds mesh as they come in and out in the overall flow of an ambient piece.
Right. But yeah, I just find this particular synthesizer, at least for me, these are the kinds of sounds that I have had living in my head for 38 years.
Sure.
And this one can actually do what I want it to do reliably.
Yeah.
Just to, when people say it's a song in a box, like a performance like this one, the ARP-84, like, that shows that it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
a lot of your, for folks, as I've said this a few times, you've got to visit his channel. The link is below. It's in the show notes.
I'd appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good YouTube stuff, while you're at it. Please.
Yeah, do. Check out his channel, subscribe. And, he's also active on Blue Sky. So you can find him there as well. And that's where we leave music and talk about other stuff. But
to a certain degree.
Yeah. Let's go back to
native.
And I'm going to move it to the left so we can still see the chat while we're working on stuff.
Thank you.
And I haven't even been paying attention to how many people are watching today, but
so just to give an idea, like a full version of a patch, like what perform the shortened version of here, that takes days.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're not going to sit here and do all that.
No. The simple pads that I've done so far have taken me hours and hours or days to get them where they are. And then I come back and listen to the next day, and it's like, no, we need to change this.
Usually for me, I can get all of my sounds sounding the way I want to within the first day, within a few hours, and then I step away. And then I come back, and that ends up being the mixing work.
Gotcha.
Because that is, you have, if we look on the hardware, it'll be easier to sort of describe that.
Oh, look at the hardware itself.
Yeah, at the hardware.
There we go.
These 8 macro knobs are the absolute key for what I do. So 5, 6, 7, and 8 are my mixer. 5 is A, B is 6, so on and so it's just straight line down.
Right.
It's easy, and that's another tip that I got from Kui Rabinus, the Dutch guy who talks about doing Berlin School. And he also does where he'll fade multiple layers in and out with a mod wheel, but that's not really what I'm about. And then these 4 up here, in a Berlin School type song, I usually reserve 1 knob for some sort of value on each layer.
Gotcha.
So in this case, layer B,
and I'm going to have both up there so they can see what you're doing and see the computer.
Okay. Layer B is my pedal bass and the chorus for that, or the flanger rather. There's a value of that tied to the master performance knob. Layer D has the chorus depth and the amp decay tied to 2 and 3.
Okay.
And I honestly can't remember what pitch is tied to right now. And I'd have to go diving for a bit to try to find it. But yeah, the other trick that I found with this, which is really interesting, which I did do a bit of a demo of while we were, introing the stream, is if you look at layer D, you have the shape lane, which is it's a really good way to just build a complex envelope, is effectively what it's doing. I have that tied to the amp envelope by default, so you'll get ratcheting, which for Berlin School is important. But what I found the other day that you can do, I did it with my mod wave first, is you can actually tie your pitch lane to the shape lane. You heard a little bit of that, the pitch bending and ratcheting and things like that. The pitches will also go through the shape lane and you'll get these warbles and
Pitch
things like
bends
that,
and-
and pitch bends without having to use the pitch wheel, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And I'm kind of glad, honestly, that I haven't sat down to record this song in Bitwig yet, because now I can do that and add a little bit of extra flair to it.
And you could automate that coming in and out as well.
Mm-hmm.
That change. I think every button, every knob, everything is automatable.
Pretty much. It's also dependent on your routings, because what I am really
Right.
frustrated by, and what I would love to be able to do, is to modulate effects parameters with the step sequencer, but you can't. Like, you can't run, for instance, a chorus depth or something, or a chorus speed. For instance,
Gotcha.
you can't run that through step sequencer values. Like, they don't allow for that.
I'm curious about something. We're going to switch over to the DAW for a second.
But you can run those through the vector.
Okay. So if you can run those through the vector is modulatable.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that I found out the other day, which is just, it seems like an oversight, is when you build a vector envelope, that vector envelope only runs as long as you're actually holding down a key.
Yes. That's
Where,
and that goes all the way back in time.
Yep.
Yeah, that goes back to the wave station.
Yeah.
It lives in the Chronos as well.
And that annoys me greatly. Because I have built some really cool vector envelopes that are now useless to me. Because, even with layer hold on, if it's not receiving that input, now I could probably get away with it with a sustain pedal. I might be able to.
Might be able to, yeah.
But I haven't tried that yet. Because I'm also, perfectly capable of wiggling a joystick.
Right. Well, and in a performance situation, the wiggling the joystick would be more interesting.
Right. Whereas, in some of my performances, the genuine, just pure drone pieces, I have so much that is just modulated under the surface with LFOs or wave sequences and things like that, that I could hit the notes, get everything droning, and then just go sit in the audience and run.
Right.
But not terribly interesting.
No. Synchrotron manages to make that interesting.
Yeah.
Andy's really good at that. I want to jump over to. I was curious about something. We were talking about automating
Effects.
In native, I think, at least, obviously this is going to be applied to Ableton, because that's what we're using here. What I don't know is how this is going to pass through complete control,
Right.
because I've got everything wired, running through complete control, so we have the control from the keyboard. But I'm curious as to see if I can come out here and go to, let's say, Effects tab and hit Configure, and let's say we want to change feedback as an available control. Now it doesn't pass through it. I'd have to add that to a knob on the controller. And
then do it that way.
Okay. If we were just running naked, so to speak, then tapping that
should be able
to pop it out here, and we can automate that, or make it a performance control on whatever your controller is. There are great positives to being able to control everything through NKS, and then there are
everything has its drawbacks.
Everything has its trade-offs, but I am curious at some point to see if I can get, well, I'm actually pretty sure if I go to plug in here, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Route an effect to a mod knob or performance mod knob, and then you could run it through.
That's a good
And
possibility.
configure it that way.
Yeah, that would be a way to do it. That would be a way to do it. Yeah, you could do that, and then. But I didn't even get the mod knobs pop up when I when I asked it. So that's something I'll have. So, excuse me. my Wavestate native NKS device was made by a fellow in Australia, and so I may ask him if that is supposed to be available
as a possibility.
Because he's always looking for feedback on the modules that he's done. So I might, because there's a few things that are a little weird in bringing non-natively NKS compatible instruments into the NKS world, where things don't quite pass through the way you would expect.
Right.
But I do believe that if I dig through here enough, I will get to, there's pitch envelopes, octave, okay, so pre-effects parameter 1 to pre-effects 2 parameters. This would be pre-effects 3. We get into mod effects. Oh, he's got them done into, I see what he's got them done into 3 pages for each one. Wow, okay. So all the delay controls are here, which means I can record them.
Yeah.
And if I can record them, then I can make them available.
You would be able to modulate them,
yeah,
via some kind of automation in the DAW.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. But I think if I had this outside of complete control, I could just tap it and it would be there.
More than like, I think that is definitely possible to do.
Yeah. And so that same concept should work in Bitwig just as easily. Mm-hmm. I would think.
I just don't have native. Like, I just run 100% hardware.
Right. And the editor does not run as a plugin.
No, but I have found, because I actually had to do this with a multi-poly piece that I recorded a couple weeks back, M63. I had, how many layers was it? I think it was 3. And I had the oscillators tuned so that they gave me an F sharp minor chord, with only having to hit F sharps.
Right.
And then I decided, about 10 minutes in, I want a key change.
Gotcha.
So all I had to do was type in the editor, the value for the major third instead of the minor third, off by a couple hundredths of a semitone for the detune.
Right.
Once I hit enter, even with it recording live in Bitwig also instantly picked up that change in tuning. Well,
you were affecting the change of tuning within the instrument, though. So Bitwig didn't
within the instrument, but it was a transfer of information from the editor into the instrument.
Right.
Then,
I see. Yeah.
So, like what I was doing with this, with turning the pitch shape on and off, I'd be able to do that in the editor while recording in Bitwig.
Because the sequencer in the Wavestate or the multi-poly is actually sending all the MIDI information of the sequence.
Right.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Right.
So, and it's an instant thing. There's no latency. So, it was this perfect. I experimented with it in a YouTube session first because I didn't want to go all in on Bitwig and, be 10, 15 minutes into a recording session and, that didn't work.
Stop.
And, stop and, figure out how to do it a different way. But, so I tried it on YouTube. It went off without a hitch. And I was like, I wonder, if I can do the same thing while recording in Bitwig, and it was flawless. So that whole idea, going back to the pitch lane through turning the shape lane control on for the pitch lane via the editor, it will work the same way. So I'd be able to get those pitch bends and warbles while live recording just straight audio in Bitwig.
Right.
So it's just all these new little tricks that I've been finding with these synthesizers I've been playing with for years, and they're still teaching me things.
Oh yeah. Well, that's one thing about these instruments. I mean, there's there's so much to them. I think you'll be learning these things for.
The only thing I haven't dug into with any of these, because I haven't needed them yet, is the mod processors.
Okay.
And I've watched a bunch of Ian Dixon's videos about how to implement mod processors and what to do with them, and it just, for some reason, it goes over my head.
Yeah.
About how to actually use them, because I just don't. Maybe because it's not anything I need. That
Today.
it's just not something that I'm thinking about.
Right, and at some point you'll say, I tell the story about learning math. I was horrible in math in school, and especially algebra, it was just completely lost to me.
I was the opposite.
And it was
geometry and trigonometry.
Geometry I got.
Yep.
And because I could see it.
Right.
I could see what was going on in geometry and trig. I couldn't see what was going on in algebra. When I got to technical school, and like the second, third day of class, instructors up there writing all these formulas on the board to tell us how to figure things out. And I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm just like, aha! That's what that was for.
Right.
And once I knew what it was for, all the stuff that had been dumped into my brain poorly by high school algebra teachers,
well, and that's the kicker,
suddenly made sense.
I feel like if I pulled up a video about, how do you actually use these mod processors while sitting in front of my gear, it would click.
Yeah.
But just, every time I've watched it, like I said, I just come to this conclusion of I don't need this right now, so
yeah.
I watch and I kind of glaze over it a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's it's an application kind of thing,
right.
In a lot of cases. At some point you'll need it. You'll sit down and you'll figure out, you go, oh yeah, that's what that was for.
One of the things that I find interesting with with these mod processors is you can turn the pitch wheel from smooth transitions from the 0 semitones to however high and low you set it. By default on this it's 2 and -2. You can make that stepped via a mod processor, but I have watched the video about how to do that, I would say probably about 10 times, and then I sit in front of the Wavestate and I completely forget it all.
Yeah. I will say that the front panel on the Wavestate is very opaque to me.
First of all, I started using the editor because I burned through the value encoder and had to have that replaced.
That's right, you mentioned that. Yeah.
And we also found out that in addition to that, the touch contact under the perform button had gone bad because I'd used it so much.
Right.
And the chip that controls it's an 8-channel circuit, I think, that controls the 8 main buttons up there on the value circuit was, my Mark II had come with a bad chip, so I had to have that replaced as well.
Oh, wow.
Tiny little thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the value encoder was the biggest problem. Like if I turned it just a little bit, it would jump all over the place.
That's really common with those kind of controls.
Yeah.
It's an issue. Luke was talking about it on the video that he mentioned it anyway on the video that he uploaded this morning about the Blofeld.
Yeah.
Is those encoders, and I've seen it in other products, in other hobbies, and in my professional life. The encoders, they're cheap.
Right.
And
when I had to have the same one was replaced in my mod wave too.
Yeah.
I ended up does the name Jeff Wolfson mean anything to you, by the way? He used to he used to run his business out of Baltimore. He's up in Hanover now. Amson Moore.
Yes. He was in Westminster.
Yeah, that's my tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yes, he is.
I couldn't remember the name, but yes, he is fantastic.
Yeah.
He used to be 5 minutes from here on Main Street in Westminster. And yeah, I took stuff to him. He was the tech also generally that was used by Coffee Music when they were still open.
But yeah, when I took my mod wave in, he asked me if I had sourced the parts or not. I said, no, not this time. He said, well, do you want a precision encoder instead? You know, just chucked it right in there. That thing is awesome.
Well, and that's the thing. The nice thing about encoders, these SMT mount encoders, is for the most part, you can substitute any one for any other, and you'll get exactly the same.
As long as they fit in the circuit board.
Exactly, because the layout is the pin layout is exactly the same.
Yep.
What is? Let me pop that back up. Synthetic, notoriously, yeah, exactly. And as Luke mentioned this morning on the video that he uploaded, you know, the Blofeld ones were notoriously bad, and they've got. You go to the Waldorf website. It's a standard product or standard part you can order. They show they've got instructions and videos on how to replace it yourself if you're so inclined.
That was the only thing I probably could have handled the encoder for the Wavestate and the mod wave, but they are just in such an awkward place on those boards that if you don't, you know, if you're not really careful with it, you'll break the screen on it, and then you got to replace that too.
Right, exactly. And you know, it's having. Now I have an SMT rework station downstairs because I do some work occasionally for a friend of mine. But if you don't have the right tool for doing those parts, you can get yourself in a world of hurt.
Well, especially because we had so much trouble getting the original encoder out of my mod wave. It was soldered in there about as tight as anything I've ever dealt with, and even with like specialized, like really fine desoldering tools and everything like that, it was still such a pain to get that out.
Yeah, you've got to basically the right way to do it is you actually use hot air.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very directed, and you're blowing 700-degree air on that.
Yeah,
on those things.
Which is effectively what we were doing, but we still couldn't get it out. You know?
Yeah, it's a trick.
Yeah, we he had me bracing the one side of the circuit board, and he said, "Can you see light through there yet?" No.
So, question about that, because a lot of companies, you've been seen inside the box now. I have not looked beyond putting those in the. Those in the tall dog cases. One thing that I see a lot of manufacturers doing these days is relying on the solder joints, the SMT solder joints, to actually be the physical connection that holds the part in place, and that be the only thing that's holding the part in place.
Pretty much.
So
it's sort of what it looked like under there. Yeah.
So they did not use the through leg and solder those in as well.
I mean, they're through a little bit, but they don't stick out all that far.
Not to stick out, but is it because did they solder those holder pins?
Yeah.
They did. Okay, well that's good. That's good.
Okay.
Because that takes the problem that happens with a lot of these encoders is they don't actually solder those.
Yeah, though at least. I didn't get to see him dealing with the Wavestate because I sort of left that, and then he told me, hey, you need these extra parts, so I'm going to have it for a few extra days. With the mod wave, I just stayed and helped him out with it. The other big issue with how these are laid out, in addition to this is so close to the ribbon connector for that screen. Yeah. The tracers are so small that we were more afraid, honestly, that
burn a trace.
Well, not that we were going to burn it; we were just going to
rip it off.
Basically, because they are tiny.
Yeah. Well, even tinier inside the encoder, the wire.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in air quotes. Inside the encoder, the wire from the pad, the solder pad, to the actual encoder itself is about the thickness of a human hair. And so what happens in a lot of cases with encoders, especially ones like on the Blofeld or where you're using it a lot, like you're using it to drive your filter control or whatever, and it's a control you use a lot, you put side pressure on it.
Yeah.
If the part is not properly attached to the board, you'll put side pressure on that and it'll break those wires internally.
Neat.
Yeah. Fortunately, they are relatively easy to replace.
Yeah.
But and relatively inexpensive. But that, that micro fine wire inside the encoder itself is a weak point.
The parts that I sourced for the Wavestate were really inexpensive from Syntar too. It's really easy to get a hold of them, and I'm being extra careful with my Electri because they have the knobs themselves, or the pot covers basically. They're different, but it's the same part underneath.
Yeah.
So I've been extremely careful with that because they're also prone to going through the same problem.
Yeah.
But I know I can get it.
Right. Yeah, I like encoders from a functional standpoint, but the way most of them are installed, they're a problem waiting to happen.
Right.
Some of the most solid ones I've ever felt are these ones on the Control S.
I like the ones on, not so much on the base opsix, but the ones that they put into the opsix SE.
Yeah.
These smooth encoders here, the A through F, are buttery smooth.
Yeah.
But a lot of resistance in them.
Right.
They feel great.
These I like because they're solid. There's no wobble. There's no nothing, and they're touch sensitive, which is really nice too. So you touch it, it tells you what the value is before you even start to try and change anything.
Right. Turning these, that's how the encoders on the opsix SE feel.
Yeah.
They feel that nice.
That's nice.
And that was something I was tempted today.
What?
To bring down the Wavestate SE and you get hands on that.
Oh.
Not enough room.
Yeah,
because that's a 61.
That's a 61. We'd have to move the polybrute or use the table to your right. I do have audio and MIDI over there. I just don't usually have it set up.
Because it is a sight to behold.
Oh, I know. It's gorgeous.
They're
lovely.
Gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. Yeah, gorgeous instruments. Luke, the Novation just does a beautiful job on everything they build. Anything that's Novation that I've ever touched is just, it feels gorgeous.
I've heard that.
Oh, the grounding
about
issue?
The grounding issue on the EMX.
I wonder if is it a circuit grounding, an overall circuit grounding issue, or is it a grounding issue in the encoder itself? Either one's easily fixed, but just my friend who runs a small electronics company down the road. All his circuits and tests were great. They got out in the field, and we found really weird grounding issues with them. And so, excuse me, I brought them back. We brought them in house, and we're looking at it, and it's like, well, if we run this to earth ground, all of his stuff is capacitive touch.
Okay.
So it's like, ended up running into the same problem that you run into with the MicroFreak if you run it off a battery, off of USB power or off of like a battery bank. That same kind of thing. But if you run a ground from that, and for a while until they fixed it internally, Arturia was sending an adapter with it for USB grounding, and it would cure the thing right up. Topic case contacts the boards. Oh, okay. That's that's a that's a board flex issue, and that's another thing I see in a lot of stuff that companies don't put enough standoffs in, or they don't put them in the right places. And the board will flex either due to heat or due to operation pressing on it, and you get weird problems, and you get a piece of 005 plastic, slide it in there, you're done. Takes care of the problem right away. But that's the other issue too that I see sometimes with that is when they trim with through-hole components, when they trim the leads after they've soldered them, they don't trim them short enough.
Yeah.
I used to see that all the time. But so let's jump back to a little more Wavestate action.
Sounds good to me.
Because we can talk all.
Oh, I know. I could talk all night.
This could be a 6-hour stream if we're just talking. Let's go back to native, I guess, because that's where we were working.
So we were right.
Yeah, you've done the bass line.
Yeah, so that's the bass line. Now, would you want to... I would honestly kind of, a layer like what I had running on the top of my performance with all that, that's a lot of steps to do.
Yeah.
And that would
that would take quite a while.
That would take multiple hours in its own, or just
Yeah.
on its own. Do you want to shape a pedal bass or do a nice drone pad layer?
Let's do a drone pad.
Okay.
Because the vast majority of what I do is ambient.
Okay.
Yeah, turn it on, then you can drive it.
Okay. So let's just turn that off for now.
Okay.
So we have the bass where we want it, so that could be set to the high note of D0, and that'll just contain for, oh wait, I need to go back to
layer A for that. And folks, you're hearing a little more stuff in the background than usual. I have 2 mics in the studio today, and I've got the gain really hot, so we wouldn't have to worry about where we were sitting in the room. So you're picking up more of the parrots, and I can hear Donna out in the hallway talking and doing stuff. But so next Monday night when I come back for the stream, I'll be back to the normal mics. You won't be able to hear that. So we're going to make this back to D0,
and that will contain.
That'll contain that bass on
to just
that D, that low D.
Okay, but we're also picking up layer B now.
Right.
So,
which is the default.
Right. If we want to make the low on that D1, and we'll just leave it to G9 for now. Oh, the other thing. Overview. No. Where do you set whether it's polyphonic or mono in?
That is
right here.
Right there, yeah.
I already have it set. That's part of... I just wanted to make sure that was part of the program that I pulled in.
Okay.
So just by default, that layer is mono.
Yeah, that's in a place that never makes sense to me.
Right.
Either in native or in the editor.
Yeah. So... Yep, there's the bass isolated.
Right.
And then anything else in between is just dead keys.
That's dead keys. We can put something else there.
And there's the init patch.
Yeah, down much further than I ever play it.
Right. D1 is a good place to start.
Yeah.
Or, for whatever your tonic note is. 1 is a good place to start for a pad layer, because usually what I do, and we don't have to do it this way, what I do is usually do a pitch range of the tonic to an octave up,
mm-hmm.
and then some important harmonic values in between.
Right.
Like if you're doing D minor, minor third, fourth, fifth, minor 6, minor 7.
Right.
And then probability values for all those depending on how often you want to hear
right.
those particular sounds.
And one of my things that I figure I have a tendency to make my pads my pad tracks too dense.
Okay.
So I'm trying very carefully to limit myself
to pare that back a little bit.
Pare that back to no more than 2 notes sounding at a time.
Okay.
That's
so with that in mind, we could really, because the way we're going to build this,
mm-hmm.
if you want to get a good drone pad with these differing harmonies and the harmonies shifting, what's the best idea to do is to just program all those harmonies and things in your timing lane. So
okay.
that all you have to do is hit your tonic.
Hit the tonic, or that
or
allows
sometimes the major fifth will work
right.
really well too.
But you can also use that because we're basing everything off the tonic in
mm-hmm.
these. The nice thing about that is as you're playing through a piece, you can move the song by going from if we were to take the bass line, for
mm-hmm.
instance, and give that from D0 to C1,
Right.
For instance,
You
we
could
then
do key
transpose
changes.
you could do
you could do key changes.
Yeah. Which is kind of sort of something that we've done with that Luke came up with to do with the launch pad.
Okay. Well, with that in mind, why
So
don't we put that up to C1?
C1. That way we've got that going.
And then D1. It depends on what you would want to do over top of this and how much of a range you want to give it. But if you don't really want to do more than 2 notes at a time on a pad layer, realistically you wouldn't need more than an octave. We could just pop it right up to D2 and be done with it.
Okay.
Make that its maximum value.
And that gives me plenty of room for playing a lead over.
Right.
Or maybe another.
Yeah. And one of these layers, if
arpeggiator.
an arpeggiator, or if you want, a pedal bass or something like that, that's always an option too. And that can go down to what I always do with that. For my pedal basses, they're always mono. 50-50 whether I do unison or not, but it does help. And then just I take them down to the -1 and then adjust the program's octave to so that you don't lose it.
Yeah.
Because if you try to do any of the bass samples in here at -1, it's not going to sound like anything.
Right.
It will basically be subsonic.
Right.
So back into B, wave sequence. So I mean, ideally, we should pick the samples first.
Yep.
So, how many do you think you want?
Start with what I did before, and what worked for me was let's start with like 3.
Okay.
2 or 3, and then I can find, if I want, I can find more.
Right. Let's do just a nice even 4.
Okay.
And then the way that I think of it, because sometimes when I do stuff like this, I'll actually have 2 pad layers.
Sure.
Where
I do
will
too.
One will be devoted to, for me at least, I'm really partial to orchestral stuff and choirs and things like that. And then the other one will be synthy sounds or very minimal airy type stuff, which
and having 2 synth layer or 2 pad layers is too, because you can bring them in and out against each other. Or give them,
and if I'm going to do that, those 2 layers will get the same range on the keyboard.
Right.
So that they'll play different notes against each other because of the random sequence order and things like that, but it's all within the same range, and they're not, like my choirs aren't way up here, and my synth stuff is not all the way down and just sounding like an awful growl against, nicer stuff up top. It helps them to blend better, and it also helps me to make a better decision when I'm ultimately going through the mixing process of where do I want this layer, where do I want that one, to not have them in such wildly disparate ranges.
Right. But it gives you an opportunity for the piece to go somewhere.
That too. Now, best way to pick is to definitely solo steps, so that as you're testing sounds, it's not going to crossfade.
Oh, right.
Next
Head off to the next one. When you least expect it.
Right. So, do we want synthy stuff? Do we want airy things? Do we want...
Let's do airy things.
Okay. Then, best, then the synth category is the place to be.
Let's see what we got.
Do you just highlight it to test it in native?
I don't know.
I don't know how to audition sounds in here.
You're obviously not highlighting it. So.
Yeah, because that's just the sign.
I guess you have to actually select it. You actually have to click on it. And
yeah, unfortunately. Let me see how good my memory is here, though, because there are some that I just go for.
Okay.
Because I know.
Yeah. See, I haven't gone through and find the ones that I really like. That's one thing that it's a little overwhelming, the number of samples.
I know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
This is usually a good one.
Okay.
Which incidentally, Korg's gadget for iOS and Nintendo Switch, and now they finally put it out on the PS5. See you later.
See you later. He's a good guy.
One of the gadgets in that program has this sound on it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Uh-oh. Never mind. We're good.
We gotta pitch that up though.
Yeah, we do. Let's go into here then. I'm playing with the right one.
We're in layer B.
There we go. White pad works when you start working with the cutoff a little bit.
Gotcha.
But let's just play around with some other stuff. That's another one when
That's
you start.
nice, yeah.
That one is usually good with a high pass. I mean, you always have noise. I'm partial to clicker, but that is a very specific atmospheric choice. The atmospheres are really nice, but they don't sustain. They eventually die.
They're very short. I noticed that.
No. I like air
That's
vortex
neat.
a lot.
That's a neat one.
Yeah, definitely that one. That's always a go-to. Standard white noise, but if you filter some of that out, it does really work. It works really well. Yeah.
That one's actually nice.
Which one? The flute pad?
The flute pad, yeah. It's actually a nice sound.
I really like cymbal flute. Because the air comes and goes.
The air comes and goes, yeah. That's nice.
One of my favorites to play around with. I need to find it.
Too many choices.
I know.
And no way... Excuse me, no way to mark favorites.
I wish you could.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
That is, if you pitch it up enough, that is actually crickets.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Because it sounds now like kind of sort of like we've gone to the ocean.
I've used that to great effect in something I did for my alternate artist page, the Rauðvik one. The song titled O Mögulega Eyjan, the Impossible Island.
Mm-hmm.
That was a song that I did for, in honor of Myst.
Okay.
Because why do I make ambient music? Because I played that game to death, and I loved the music.
Yeah, the music in that was fantastic.
And I actually, the way that I shaped that sound, I know I need to do Riven. I already platinumed Myst on PS5. Now I need to go and do the same with Riven. But I never got the whole way through that game. I got so frustrated with it.
And I am absolutely, I'm not a gamer. It's like I have, for the last game that I got into was Zork 2. So.
Okay. The way that I shaped that particular sample in that track, it, even when it got up into the higher registers where it is meant to sound like crickets, and sound more like crickets, it ended up coming across more like distant birds. And it's a fascinating sample, but it really requires a lot of work to make it actually fit into whatever it is that you're trying to do. I'll try that one. Nope. No. I am trying to find the best
the best thing that's gonna mix well,
right,
coming out of the cymbal flute and going back to possibly
right,
the air flute. You know,
yeah.
although we're going to be randomizing these though, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
with a lot of crossfade too.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That'll work.
That's the one. Turn that off. So that's all set.
So one question I have. So I know that the marker, and again I'm pointing at the screen. So I'm looking at the red markers at the end of the lane.
Yeah.
And so I know they define the length of the loop.
Right.
But what is the difference between I know the lower one seems to define the entire loop.
Mm-hmm.
What's the upper one defining? Because when you pull it back, you can pull it back.
Right. So you can have a sequence start and end at a certain point, but you can set the loop end to be somewhere in the middle of that.
Gotcha.
So you can have parts of your sequence that, you know, in theory, but there are tricks for it, that it'll never actually hit. But both of those values are able to be modulated.
Okay.
And if you throw that through an LFO, you know, if you like,
so
if
you could have the upper one would be the standard loop,
yeah,
per se, and then you could kick it out to the end using
the lower one on here.
Okay.
The lower one, I think, is the overall sequence length.
Right.
And then the top one is your loop end. But, you know, if you pull up some of the crazier presets on here and actually watch the way some of these things on the display of the hardware are interacting and moving around in ways that makes no sense, is because they have that modulated through LFOs and things like that they're moving in ways that just setting them by default on here you're not going to get.
Gotcha.
You know, the modulations are key to that. And speaking of loop orders and things, there's random.
There's random, right?
And we would want infinite loops. And I mean, and this no longer becomes important when it's random, but we'll worry about setting all that once we have stuff together.
Gotcha.
So pitch, tonic, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh octave. So, and this is D minor.
Yeah, we're in D minor for the moment. So
minor.
But this, okay, for the minor, So we're just setting up a minor.
Fifth, minor sixth, minor seventh, and there. And then, all you have to do for each step, you know, just pick some probabilities you like for each of those values of the scale, you know.
And that's that's out here.
Yeah.
Notes. So we're always going to do.
I always do the tonic and octave.
I thought we were doing probabilities.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, the tonic and octave are always 100%.
Right. Okay. So they're at 100. Fifth will probably be high, but not super high. And I'm just throwing random numbers in here at the moment. I'm actually going to set that a little higher than somewhat here. Yeah, and altered note will be in there. Sure, why not?
So that's done. And then the next phase, the final phase, really is timing and how many different steps do you want.
Now we're eventually going to make those randomized, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But
for now,
the kicker of this is, until you get all this set up, if you have stuff running randomly,
right? Exactly. Yeah.
It'd be really weird.
It weirds out your head real quick.
So it's best
I've made that mistake in Stepic a few times.
It's best to just not worry about any of that. And really, I don't really start my sequences running, you know, because I mean the pitch and timing stuff for me is pretty standard. It's just a matter of how many sounds do I want, you know, test them, you know, do all that. Once I have the sequence set up, before I even hit a key, I will actually set up the amp envelope.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make sure everything's running randomly, and then turn the layer hold on, hit a note, and while all that's sounding, you know, and just running on its own, then I do the rest of my shaping, you know, for the filter and effects and things like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
It just, for me anyway, it's easier that way than to, you know, have to be holding down keys, turning knobs, and doing all that stuff. It's best to just have it running, and then as the sounds mutate and shift, I can make adjustments where I need to. Is like, this sound isn't present enough, you know, I need to bring it, you know, bring the filter back a little bit, or my sustain level's too low, I need to bring it up a little bit, or something like that.
And Noise Theorem, you're I say it's a dark humor. The reference was lost on me. So, and welcome to the stream, my friend. Good to see you.
So, how many timing values do you think?
Let's do 5.
Okay. And do you want tempo synced, or do you want to just do time values?
Let's do time values.
Okay. Yeah, and at 80%, it's, or you know, at 80 BPM, it's hard for me to get a good idea of what would be. I think you might end up with a maximum of 10 seconds being able to last longer than a double brev.
Okay.
At 83. At 40 BPM, a double brev will last you a good long while.
Yeah.
You know, but... And then keep crossfade at time. How do I edit the crossfade?
Crossfade is, oh shoot. That is in, let's see, which lane are we in right now? We're in timing. That is in, I think that's in the sample lane in here. Nope. I had this, oh, it just drove me buggers looking for this the other day.
Okay, now I get that. All right, so because we were talking about it, you know, you have start, end, and then loop, start, and end.
Yeah.
If you have it all the way pinged out here, if you start playing with the top, you know, with the loop end, that's your top one.
That's the top one. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you start playing with the overall end, it brings them both.
Right, right.
You know.
Where did I find that crossfade thing? In here. Actually, one thing I will do a lot of times when I'm trying to find something in here, because it is easier to find in the editor.
Yeah.
I'll look at the editor real quick. So we'll pull the editor up real quick, look for that value, and then it might point us to where we want to look in. And let me get the big chat out of the way. You get to see the other one now.
Is the crossfade in here? Wait a minute. Wait. No, not down there.
It's not in the pitch, is it? No, it's not.
Wait, I'm on the wrong layer. I have crossfade turned off on that.
Oh, okay.
So we might not find it at all. Yeah, we might have to click on each step in the timing lane to find it. Let's go back and look.
Here we go. There it is. Yep,
there
that's
it. So for a pad, a good crossfade time is usually north of 2.3.
Yeah.
I usually go a little bit higher than that even, just to really make sure that that's nice and smooth.
All right. We'll start at 3.
I'm going to step out for a second and let you play around with the timing lane. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll let you have that.
Let's just set that up here because we're working in the DAW machine. All right, so let's see. Let's play with some timings, and I'm just putting stuff in randomly for now. We'll go ahead and, as I did before with the other pads that we worked on previously, I went back and adjusted them later. So I'm going to set them all to anywhere between 2.5 and 3.5 seconds. I say 2.5 and 3.5. There we go. So these times are too short for those crossfades to work. Let's see. So we got to set all the timing lengths up as well. So let's set those. Just drag those up. That's too long for white noise. Now eventually, as we said, eventually these will be randomized, but and again, I apologize for all the extra background noise. The extra mic is very, very sensitive. I'm going to go ahead and pitch that guy up too, right off the bat.
Transitions are nice. So now what we can do,
and I had to lengthen out the step times to cover the length of the transitions. All the transitions right now are at about anywhere between 2.5 and 3.5 seconds.
Okay.
This is a starting point.
Yeah. So now what we can do is just randomize all that. We don't have to worry about shape, gate, step sequence. I mean, gate's really only, I'll mention that lane while I'm at it. Gate is only really going to be helpful if you're building a lane like what I had going on in the editor. On layer D, you know, something quick like that. Because what you'll end up having happen, I think the sequence froze. That should be running, but at any rate, if you change your gate lengths, then as you're going through, it'll be like changing the gate in an ARP. You know, you'll get quicker, you'll get quicker notes, you'll get longer ones, you know, stuff like that. But
so on an arpeggiated or a tighter sequence, then that's definitely something.
Then that's something to play with. But you know, obviously on a pad layer, you know, you don't want to be cutting your stuff off. You just want it to sustain. So. Now, where is the hold just for the layer?
The hold for the layer.
There it is. Because what what you see here, performance hold, that would just hold everything.
Hold everything,
and
right.
Obviously, we don't want that. So let's go ahead. Shape an amp envelope that you think you like. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff. Welcome to the party. not that long. At least not for testing purposes.
And it's up to you about curvature.
Well, let's leave it default for now. We can fool with that.
Right, with synthy stuff, I usually like to just do linear anyway, because I don't need it to sound like a realistic attack and release, like with a choir and things like that. I really play around with curvature for that, just to get it as.
Jeff is driving. Okay.
So everything's random. We have the hold set.
And I pitched the white noise up.
Okay. Just that sample.
Yeah, okay. Just that sample.
So you'll have these two sequences running at the same rate but at different times, because they're not synchronized with each other.
Right.
I mean, you can do that with sync notes, but in this case, it's not the right thing to do.
So, one thing I can hear right off the bat is we're going to need to get in and adjust the levels of the audio or the volume levels of the individual samples, as well as filtering.
Right. And I wonder if you might want to up the timing steps just a touch, so that it sits on them just a little bit longer.
Yeah, we can.
Unless the sounds breathe a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just put each one up to
5-ish.
Yeah, somewhere in there. That's better.
Yeah, that's a neat sample too. I like that one a lot.
So we want to go in and look at the levels of it. So you're talking about the trim.
Yeah. The white noise levels is playing too loud. So we're going to trim that back. But,
go even further. Better, and some low pass filtering will help.
So
that a
low
little
pass
bit too.
and high pass both.
Yeah, like if you do the multi-mode filter.
Yeah, because I'm hearing the low end is, I can hear the loop point in the white noise sample.
Yep.
So it's and by taking the top and the bottom off of it, especially the low end, I can hear a thump. And so by tightening that up, we'll hide those loop points a bit.
And that brings me to a point here, which, and this is all depending on what you're trying to get out of doing with your wave state. With mine, I don't really play around with the trim and, doing that kind of stuff, because I like the pulses that those loop points
I don't mind
give.
the pulses, but when it's like a thump like that.
Well, yeah, for sure.
I want to dull it some.
Yeah, there are some samples on here that are really notorious for, having that. But for the music that I make, it almost gives it a heartbeat sometimes. Sure. And it's such a cool effect when it happens properly. Right. So really, a lot of the time, I'm barely going through and dealing with, trying to edit out that loop point. Yeah. Because it serves what I'm doing really well.
Right. And that rhythmic or semi-rhythmic, aspect is important.
Right.
Especially I think in an ambient, a lot of cases, you have to have some sort of reference to where we are in time.
Right. Well, you wouldn't think in a drone piece that it'd be that important, but it is.
It really is. Yeah, it really is. Otherwise, it gets boring.
It can.
Yeah.
But, and that's the other magic aspect of this, is how easily modulatable everything is.
Yeah.
And that's really where a lot of the wonder comes from in the things that I make, is that it's just, again, these sounds that I've wanted to make for so long, but then being able to make them sound like something else entirely for a while, because of just LFOs and being able to run everything through it. One of my favorite things to do with this, which I am going to be, once I get my studio moved, the next big Wavestate project is, the album is called, which is a mouthful even for me, Thingdarhrun, which is gravitational collapse.
Okay.
Which it starts with that, goes in, the second track is Impossible Density, and then the third track is Vela, after the Vela Pulsar.
Okay.
I built the Vela Pulsar
in
the Wavestate.
Oh, neat.
Because the Vela Pulsar rotates at 11, at a rate of 11 times a second. That's 11 hertz.
Right.
Take a white noise sample, put a 100% intensity amp LFO on a square, run it at 11 hertz, and you have the Vela Pulsar.
Oh, wow.
So, but what I have found really, really works really well, I ended up building this patch after Vela, was building a wave sequence, letting it drone, putting a 100% intensity square amp LFO on it, and then cross-modding that with a randomized LFO to the rate, to the frequency of that LFO. Because you can actually end up getting that square LFO pulsing faster than its maximum allowable rate. You can get it into audio range.
Sure.
So you get these odd harmonics and things if it gets pulsing fast enough.
Right.
So I did that in gravitational collapse, and that actually, it's not always rhythmic, but when the rates are right, it is. Yeah, and it's such a cool thing that, and I know it's not just limited to the Wavestate that you can do that, but I have found it easiest of all the Raspberry Pi synths. I found it easiest to do it on that, because there is something about the mod wave that I can't get right yet. I'm still working on it. Getting it to do the same thing, just when the square pulses to what should be off, I'm still hearing the oscillator. I haven't been able to work that out yet, but I have some ideas. But like I said, I'm in the middle of some upheaval with my studio space, so I can't really sit down right now and work on it.
Yeah.
But that's like.
So that's one thing I love about
priority.
having the native apps is, I can work on one in the dining room.
Right.
The laptop, or I don't have to necessarily be in the studio to work.
Right. Well, I don't necessarily have to either, but that's, the headphones that I currently have are not genuine studio monitoring headphones. They're nice, but God, the low end on them is a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And, when I design something on that I think is good, bring it into the studio, put it on the studio monitors, and immediately I'm like, I got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Well, I've been using these Sony. These are the Sony 7506s. I've been using 7506s since there have been 7506s. I
believe they're the ones that I currently have on a wish list for birthday or Christmas.
They
I do want some good studio monitor quality headphones.
One thing I will say, these are not stock.
Okay.
The ear pads on mine, because
you've replaced them, right?
Yeah, I replaced them with Bear Dynamic DT250 ear pads, and that made two differences. One, it makes them more comfortable.
Yeah.
The other is the stock ones are good. The stock ones are comfortable, and they are.
Oh yeah, now I can hear that thump.
Yeah, hear it?
And for so, what you're wanting to do, that we got to work that out.
Yeah, so that thump is something that I would not have heard with the 7506s with the stock ear pads.
Okay.
And I don't know why.
That's strange.
It's really strange. These headphones, these pads, the low end response, I won't say it got a higher or low or more low end. It's just
it cleaned it up.
It's more defined.
Right. So it cleared something out that you can hear it better.
Yeah, I can hear the details, and
that's why I pushed so hard to have my monitors, both of them now, repaired and rebuilt, because those Yamahas give me such great response to everything. Like, I'm hearing things in stuff that I recorded months ago
Yeah.
that I still think is fine. I don't think I need to go back and remaster anything or do anything like that. But I'm just like, ooh, there's material here that I wasn't hearing as clearly before. That's nice.
These guys, same thing.
If I was needing to get new monitors, I was looking at them.
Yeah, they're really nice. They do make it down to 40 hertz pretty easily. I think I am going to want to put a subwoofer in here.
Yeah.
They're just for a little more feel. And for the time being anyway, I'm probably just going to pull the one out of the living room and use that.
That's something I'm thankful with those Yamahas I don't really need. Their bass response.
I don't necessarily need it.
Right.
With the twin passive radiators, there's a lot of there's a nice bottom to these. But I was working on something the other day, and it sounded great in here. It sounded great on in the cans, in the headphones. When I played it in the truck, there was low end component that didn't fit.
Right.
And I was actually surprised I didn't hear it in here, but it just didn't fit. And so it came back in. I said in my head, okay, I need to get rid of this. So EQ is my friend.
Yeah.
Just cut it off. But
that's
it's kind of a rumble thing that I
couldn't. With the Yamahas anyway. I was thinking about a subwoofer for a while because just where I was sitting, I don't feel like I'm getting enough low end response out of this. Like, are these things that anemic in the low end? But when I backed away from them just a little bit further, there it came.
There it came.
Like,
well, so the wave hadn't had
enough time to yeah. And then the other test that I always do is like, okay, this is mastered. I like it. I like it on my small speakers that I listen to music on that I have in my bedroom. It sounds good in there. Final step is always the car.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It does particularly in the lows. Do the lows match in the car what I'm hearing out of these monitors? And since I've gotten the Yamahas 100% of the time, yes.
Yeah. I'm still learning these. It's good. It takes a while to learn a new set of speakers, but the ones that I had before, there was something wrong in the mids, and that's one thing about Yamahas especially. They're Yamahas chasing NS10. Yeah. And with whatever the HS series, and the NS10s were notoriously lacking in low end.
Right.
And not great in high end either.
And I had the opposite problem when I had my Studio 5s from PreSonus. Like, they were good. They sounded nice. Holy God, the low end though was too much.
Yeah.
They just
they were you got the happy waveform,
Right. And I mean, I love a good bass frequency as much as the next person, but at times I'm losing everything else.
Well, the problem too is when you mix on that, and
you get the mix wrong.
The low, because the low end is too pronounced in the mixing. When you go play it elsewhere, your low end disappeared.
Right. Because I cut it too much.
Right. To compensate for the monitor speaker. And these are really flat.
That was another thing that, with them...
The D3Vs when I'm saying these guys.
I'm honestly kind of glad that I cut my teeth mastering on the PreSonus, though, because, everything that I did on them still, when I listen to it on the Yamahas or any of my other equipment that I listen to music on, I still like the end result from the PreSonus stuff. But then diving into, once I got the Yamahas, because really what I found out, the PreSonus couldn't handle the multi-poly.
Really?
It would overdrive them in a big way.
Oh, wow.
Especially when you peak the resonance on it. The tweeters would just go mad. So that's why I thought that something had gone wrong in them because, long story short, we had a major electrical problem in the house in January. So I thought something in the monitors had fried because of that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no, and the PreSonus have gone on to live you know, a good life in a home of a friend of mine. But so that's why I got the Yamahas, sat down with them, and it's just the work I'm doing is still painstaking. It still takes me time.
Sure.
But it's so much easier now.
Yeah.
You know, because the response is that much more balanced coming out of those than the pre-son is.
Yeah.
I just had to learn, you know, for the really deep stuff, like around 8 minutes in Mount Doom, the opening track for my Lord of the Rings album. Around 8 minutes is when the sub for that, the pedal-based sub comes in on that.
Mm-hmm.
And initially, you know, that was when I kind of learned, like, okay, I need to wheel myself back from these monitors just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't hearing it at all. It was like, I know that is supposed to be there because I built this patch.
Right.
You know, I know what's there. Why am I not hearing it? So I would seek back, give myself enough time to wheel back from them a little bit, and then that 8th minute hit. This room is filled with low end.
Yeah.
It's exactly where I need it to be, because that initial attack of it, you know, it does fade, and it gets to be one of those things that you feel more than you hear.
Yeah. And that's
that
actually kind of a
attack of it.
That's actually kind of a problem with a near field monitor, is because you're working too close for the wave from a low frequency to really develop.
To fully oscillate.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I kind of learned that, and I have enough room in the spaces that I have to be able to back away enough that it's not perfect, but it's enough.
Yeah.
To let me know that all these sounds that I, you know are supposed to be here, you know, they are actually there.
Yeah. Let's jump back to the DAW.
I think we've gotten the noise trimmed enough that when I hear it, it's there, but it's not overpowering everything.
Right.
else.
Yeah. I like that. I like that level.
Let's do. If I can figure out where it is.
What you looking for?
The filter.
The filter itself.
Yeah.
That is in synthesis.
That makes sense, doesn't it? I'll let you handle the filtering because I probably have different tastes than you might.
Well, let's see. Because we're going to want to modulate the filtering.
Yeah.
For sure. Let's see. What filter are we using? Poly 6 is fine. Actually, no, if we want the multi-filter filter for this.
Because you want to cut some lows and highs, right?
Yeah. So we're going to put this. See, this is the kind of thing where I'd like to have 2 filters. Mm-hmm. You know, so I can
have a diverse range of sounds between the samples we've picked.
Yeah, and that's where 2 filters would come in handy.
Yeah.
But we'll have to use we'll have to use what we have. So probably bandpass. Or bandpass. All right, so in these filter selections, we've got low pass plus band pass and low.
That would be one filter.
Right. No, I know it's one filter,
Yeah.
but is it low? And then what's the difference between low pass plus band pass
Well, that's what I'm saying.
and
is
low
that
pass
you...
minus band pass?
Low pass.
Oh! I see what you're saying.
Like what you would be able to do, maybe, is you'd have this multi-filter, but you might not need mode 2. You could theoretically have both of your filters in one mode without needing to cross between them. If I'm understanding that right, but I have honestly never used any of those modes. The only thing I've ever done is like low pass mode 1 cross-fading into a band pass in mode 2, you know, based on turning the cutoff knob.
Yeah.
Now is the time for experimentation.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's try. Start there and turn the cutoff knob and see
what we get, because we're looking at.
So you get 2 different slopes.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Right, that's right, Jeff. And we've got one of those over here, but I can't on the multi-poly, but I can't I can't put that here in the. channel that into a delay is going to be wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Getting it to swell like that?
Yeah.
Now, this is another trick that I employ in mine. I do it slow and fast, and for a pad it would be good to have it slow probably, is to shape a filter envelope with, you know, an attack and decay stage and sustain at wherever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Trigger that envelope with an LFO reaching a certain threshold.
Right, yeah.
I love that. Which will then give you, you know, these...
Right.
Those sweeps into the delay.
And another thing that I've done, not necessarily on the wave state, but I do this in Pigments and in Vital a lot, is I'll set an LFO to control the cutoff, and then I'll vary the LFO rate with another LFO.
Okay, so cross-modding LFOs.
Yeah.
You know, same idea that I was talking about with the amp LFO being cross-modded, just running it into a different thing. Yeah,
just doing it a different way. And then I'll do a sine wave is the primary one, and then the rate modifier is a random of some sort.
Right.
Like a Turing kind of thing. It gets a really interesting...
Yeah. So, now...
Okay, Jeff. Thanks for stopping in.
That is actually interesting with
Yeah.
bandpass on both. Let's do low pass plus bandpass.
I actually think I like the response on the minus a little better.
Okay.
Still not sure what the difference is. That's going to be an RTFM moment.
Yeah, because to be perfectly honest, I have not played around with this mode all that much. Kind of. Let's do 50, or as close to it as we can get.
Yeah. I think if you double click, it'll reset. Oh, no, it goes to 0. Oh, but we can type it in.
Uh-huh. That's very neat. What you could do is sort of... They max at 138, so half of that is 69. So you could, instead of doing an envelope, you could just move it through both extremes of the range with an LFO.
Yeah. And so filter LFO would be the one that's hardwired. Just to start, we'll use a sine. There's other more interesting. Actually, start, we'll use a sine, and then we can play with some other modes, some other LFO shapes after. Okay, I saw it here a minute ago. Where is it? Envelope LFO. That's far too fast. So what I'm doing now is with this offset is offsetting where the center point is in the LFO cycle as with respect to 0. So I'm basically taking the entire thing and shifting it down a little bit so the filter does not open up as much as it closes at the moment. If that makes sense. There are a few things I know about this thing.
No, I'm curious.
Yeah.
While this pad is running. That's another kicker. If you're building a big patch like this, you know, as you get one layer done,
you
check
need
the previous layer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. Now, problem to watch out for is now you have 2 Ds plus the 4th.
Right.
So, fortunately, that doesn't really affect as a key change, because the Ds are still there, but that G is now just added in.
Yeah.
Instead of subtracting them. I haven't figured out a way to have the holds on.
A lot of times I'll let things conflict.
Okay.
I don't mind that necessarily. Because with the envelope times that are going on this, there's going to be, if you change, the crossfades are going to be quite long.
Yeah.
All right. Still a little bit much on the high end for that though. I wonder. So, how that would affect the entire patch. Shoot. We don't have an EQ per layer.
No.
We have a master.
We have a master EQ. Let's see what other loads we have.
Yeah, we may need to, let's see, do like a. What if you just do a band pass on mode 2 for mode 2, and then we're going to move the cutoff up. That way the white noise comes in still, but is not overbearing. Not as harsh at the top end.
For sure, it's there, but not like it was.
Yeah. It's interesting too. It's still too slow, still too fast though. The LFO. That's better. That's a better rate. And like I said, I do want to. At some point, I want to go away from the sign, and we're going to try some of the
try different shapes, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Nice. Let's see.
I have noticed that if you're wanting a delay, if you do a stepped random LFO, as it jumps, those jumps will be picked up by the delay.
Okay. That's actually cool.
Which, if it goes slow enough, it works. If you get one of those moving fast enough, then it doesn't matter so much anymore. It moves too fast for the delay to really grab it.
Right.
And to have the effect that you'd want it to have.
I wonder what that's going to sound like with it. Just we'll go ahead and turn the delay on real quick and see where we're sitting in something like that. It is on. No, it's not on. Where's my power? Really? There we go. Let's see. not doing a lot, but it's there and it's
there.
smoothing things out.
Right, and then, you know, if you give a shot to a stepped random LFO at the same intensity, you know, as it jumps through your filter layers, it should grab that. I'm partial to random 1, if for stepped ones anyway.
Yeah.
Because on a smooth it won't grab it.
Let's see what it does. The frequency's really low. Of course, the one that's most noticeable when it kicks in is the white noise.
Of course, it's not moving in a direction that's going to help that much.
Right. The other thing that would make it more apparent when we're making some of those changes, not just in the filter, but also in the
I was going to say the resonance.
The resonance, yeah. Mm-hmm. If we bring the resonance up in the filter, and even sequence that. And then I'm going to go ahead and update up the frequency.
Hearing it now.
Yeah. That's because I think we're getting filter changes while sounds are being held,
right.
As opposed
yeah.
to. Not sure how I feel about it.
Oh no. I mean, it's interesting overall. Like, if this were just going to be a drone, I think it'd be fine.
Yeah, and maybe... Can I? Yes, I can pause this. Right. I want to just hold one. Can I make it just stop on one? Is that
you would have to... Well, you have to turn off random. Which one do you want?
Anything but white noise.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Okay. No, it's still cycling.
That is because we have multiple notes going.
Right, right.
Kill the layer. And then that should still be from this.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's still from this. So we can douse that real quick. That's up here. Okay.
Okay. So now that's just that sample, but the pitches are shifting.
Right. See, I don't hear the filter change on that much at all.
Mm-mm.
The filter's affected. I guess there's not. I guess it's the high-end component that we're mangling most with the filter.
And I'm wondering if we change that from the low pass delay to the high pass one.
Now I hear it hitting.
Mm-hmm.
That periodic ping is actually kind of interesting.
Yes, it is.
Now, see, I can see this being a layer all by itself.
Just that sample alone,
Just
yeah,
that
it
sample
could be.
alone, yeah. Save that for later. So if we go back now to the sequence and turn that off. All right, Luke, thanks for stopping by.
We appreciate it.
And of course, you know, this will be available for consumption later too.
It's a marathon stream.
Yeah. Oh, this, my longest is 12 hours.
Oh, yeah. Was that for drone day?
That was for drone day, yeah. It came on at 9 in the morning, went off at 9 at night. Oh, we'll wave, yes. See you, Luke. Okay. You know, I watch some of the other streamers, and they do this thing. They're doing all their sound design over a pad or something.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm just like, it's.
I need, unless I am building a 100% pad-based drone, I need something else to go along with that. You know, I can't.
Well, no, I'm saying they'll launch it. They'll have their background audio going, like we had going,
yeah.
And then you know they're designing sounds and whatnot, and it's like, well, wait a minute. There's got to
Right.
be some interaction or some conflict there,
Right?
Unless that background thing that you're using is going to become part of the final piece, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the bass sequence, but we can come back to that.
We can come back to that.
Yeah.
And also, let's go into the layer. I mean, you're not locked into that either. You can pick a different bass sound and...
May just actually just do that. Still not entirely married to the sequence, but the mix helps a lot.
The mix
too.
is better.
Yeah. So it's not like it's overriding the.
Mm-hmm.
I do a little bit of both. And I don't know if you want me to use your real. I know your real name. I don't know if you want me to use it on the air, so to speak, or not. So I've never talked to you about that. So so I sometimes I'll just have marathon sound design sessions and build a bunch of patches, and then other times I'll design the songs as I'm writing the piece. In this case, because we're trying to do an instance where the instrument, I can use Tony. Okay, cool. Sometimes it's more comfortable for me if I know the name to use the name, but I know a lot of people don't like that. So, since we're working on a song in a box where the whole piece is going to live in the wave state, we kind of sort of need to do a little bit of both in some cases. So I didn't, and Tony, I didn't know. So now I know. So cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's, sort of, I guess, what makes my process so unique is that every song that I do is one instrument.
Right.
It's either wavestate, multi-poly mod wave opsix. Those are rare, but they're out there. And those are, frankly, the opsix ones are the most difficult to do because I don't have like a pedal bass sitting underneath or a bass sequence running. That's just if there's a drone in that, that's me holding a key.
It's holding a key, exactly, because you only have one layer.
Yeah.
In the opsix.
Which, I mean, you can get around that with a sustain pedal.
Sure.
You can sustain one layer and then, or one patch and then switch to another one.
Right.
But it's still the fact that if I stop actually holding keys, the sound's gone.
The sound goes away. Right.
So those are the most high pressure.
Yeah.
Things to actually sit down and record, because, well, there's also the fact that not only, if I let go of the keys, the sound stops. If I flub a key,
right,
back to the beginning.
Right. Well, and it's like when I was doing a couple of years ago, I did a whole bunch of looper-based stuff, and I would do one instrument or two instruments and the looper, and that was it.
Yeah.
And so once it got into the looper, if I make a mistake in a layer,
right,
I can usually drop one loop out, but if I got to go back two, it's like I got to go back to the beginning and start over.
Yeah.
And the first looper that I was using, I didn't have any more than one layer of undo, so it was.
Yeah, that was something I found the other night. I guess that was Thursday. I was trying to do it. I'm working on a lot of things at the same time, if I'm being honest. Like I have the new Wavestate thing that I have all lined up and ready to go. I just, I need to be in a room that doesn't have interference coming through my monitors.
Yeah. I
have a new opsix project that I was starting on the other night. Man, I had a great take going. I was somewhere between 12 and 15 minutes into the take, and it was flawless, great. I was feeling really good about it. I tried to get cute, and I flubbed a note. No! And by that point, it was like 11 at night. Okay, I'm going to bed. Yeah. And then it was, I'll try again tomorrow. And then that was when I turned my monitors on, and I could hear the ticking from the RF interference. So, and ever since then, my brain has been focused on, okay, I need to fix that problem.
Yeah. Faraday cage.
I have some Faraday loops, for audio cables, but it's not my audio cables at this point.
Need a Faraday
I would just need a big, I would need to just encase everything. But like I said, I have an empty room. I just need to clean it out and
hope that it's clear of noise.
Well, I don't have any emitters in the in that space.
Got it. Oh, that's right, because it was your new router.
It's the new router that's doing it.
Triggered that.
The wiring is fine, because that was another thing I talked about with Jeff today while I was getting that monitor fixed. I was like, I'm fairly certain my wiring is fine. He said, well, if it just started when you brought the router in there, then yeah, your wiring's got to be fine.
Yeah.
And everything before that, my left monitor went bad, and now the right one is. If my wiring was bad, I'd be getting noise out of both of them.
Yeah.
So I know that it's not that. It's just a matter of I need to be in a space without an emitter now. Yeah. And I'll only be one room away, but I'll have walls in between me and the router itself. Yeah. And it wasn't an unbearable noise, but it's just I can hear that, and it's driving me nuts.
It's distracting.
Yeah.
And when you're in a space, all of a sudden to hear that doesn't belong, it's like.
Which in this case, it was fast. Like it almost sounded like static crackle, but it had a rhythm to it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Like that sound that you hear when someone's about to get on a speaker when sometimes someone's about to get a cell phone call.
Almost.
Yeah, kind of like that.
But just more like a crackle, as opposed to those tones.
Oh wow!
But the only reason I know that there's nothing wrong with that monitor is because I took it to a different room, plugged it in, and it was flawless.
Yeah, exactly.
But the right monitor, which was going bad and was fixed today. Holy God! Because they had two different versions of that sound. Oh, I should sample it.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I should have sampled it coming out of the right one because it was loud. It was much louder because of the the faulty parts that were in the right one that were going bad.
Yeah. I'm glad to know Jeff is still doing the thing. That's good
awesome.
Because he
actually wants me to bring my Wavestate and teach him how I do what I do, because he has a song or two of mine, and he's like, I don't understand how. He's like, I understand the electronics of it, you know, but how do you hear that, you know?
That's hard to teach.
Yeah.
It's real hard to teach. But Jeff was not doing well for quite a while. Yeah, so I'm glad that he's. That's why he closed the shop here in Westminster.
Yeah, he told me as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that was basically his, you know, thing. Like, how do you hear all of that? Because I gave him the closing track of my Galilean Moons album, the album MDCX, because that. I'm gonna toot my own horn here for a second.
Go for it.
Callisto is the best singular piece that I've made. Like the Lord of the Rings album is the best cohesive whole still, but Callisto is the single best singular piece that I've done, and not everybody's gonna put bassoon in an ambient piece.
Right.
You know,
bassoon's a wonderful instrument, though. Oh my gosh.
And it just initially I wanted oboe, because the Wavestate has a couple of great oboe samples, but I played through them, and I'm just, this is, even with filtering, it's just too piercing.
Yeah.
Nice, but piercing.
Yep.
Like, you know what? I still want a woodwind, and I want an unusual one. And I didn't even know at the time, until I went searching through it, that the Wavestate had bassoons in it. Oh, you know, I kind of did the Mr. Burns thing for a minute, and picked the bassoon sound and shaped it, you know, got it sounding like I wanted it to. And then I actually did that one backwards, because usually I'll get my pedal bass, my pads, you know, I'll do all those first, and then pick a lead sound. Callisto I did backwards, and built everything around that bassoon. And I still will sit, especially in the car, if I decide to give that song a play, right at about 15 minutes and 30 seconds, where that's the second sequence with the bassoon, where one of my mod knobs was keyed to the cutoff, where when I turned the mod knob the whole way up, it just ripped the filter open and maxed out the, you know, just put the cutoff to maximum. That swell gives me goosebumps every time.
That's awesome. So, all of Danny's stuff is on his Bandcamp, and so
in two places, because I do have Blauwvik as well.
Right. So, do you have those links on your YouTube?
I should. Okay. In the about the channel thing, I at least, you know, on my channel page, I should at least have the rauðvik Bandcamp, but I don't know about Blauwvik.
Okay. But they are cross-linked on Bandcamp, right?
Should be.
Okay. So, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Down in the show notes is the link to his YouTube channel, and from there you can get to his Bandcamp and take a listen to this stuff.
Yeah, go wild. Go wild. There's a lot of, like, I've mentioned the Lord of the Rings album now 2 or 3 times on this stream. It's a 3-hour trip.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic, by the way.
And MDCX, the newest one, that tops 2 hours. Yeah. So, you know, but everything that I do is extremely long form. It does take patience, if you're going to listen to it intently.
Yeah.
If you just want it in the background, it does well for that too.
Yeah, it works great both ways. It's well worth the listens. Absolutely. So, let's see. I could listen to this for...
I know. I could listen to it for a while. I would, you know... I would use this in my own work. And, I mean, all of these sounds that we've picked out here today, I have used in some form or another in my own work.
Some conversation down the hall. Donna just had an eye-opening moment, it sounds like. Let's just see. Is there... I don't know if... So okay, let's take a look at... we might continue a little bit down through the sequencer.
I will say on a sequence this slow, shape and gate aren't going to mean much.
Yeah, that's what
gate in particular.
That's what I was thinking. We need but on something else, because there's some interesting stuff that you can do in shape.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if we take a few minutes anyway, because it's getting late. It's getting towards dinner time.
Yes.
Here in the East, and let's real quick do something melodic.
I'm having a thought real quick.
Okay. Go for it.
Something that does work on slow sequences like this is to put your pitch lane through the shape and have like a triangle or the swell sign a couple times, because it will bend. It'll bend the pitch around where it's trying to go. Mm-hmm. It gives it this very eerie whine to it.
Let's do it.
Let's just make it short for now.
Okay.
It does help to have some of those in, so you do get some that are just solid hits, just right on the pitch, and so it's not bending and sounding strange all the time. There it is. I really like that one. It's like the triangle, but softer.
It's softer,
a lot more smooth around the edges. Let's do a saw up.
One thing that I wish you could do with the Wavestate, and all of these actually, I wish you could run the lanes at different rates.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. That it wasn't locked to the timing lane, or that you could make a timing for each
lane.
Yeah. You see it? But what's nice about it is you can turn that on and off.
Right.
With just the click of a button. Now, on the hardware, it's harder to get to. You have to, enter pitch, and then it's right there.
Yeah, but you still got to do that multi-click.
Right, multi-click. A lot of button pushing and things like that.
Now, see, that's the kind of thing that I anyway could do in my Control 4 hardware version of this. I can put that on a button up here.
Okay, so that'd be easy enough.
Yeah. So if you ever get an NKS controller, if you get one of these Mark IIIs, I'll send, as my template develops, I'll send it to you.
But at the same time, now that I know that if I need to have something like that, I can have the editor running while I'm recording, and I have that button push.
Right, exactly.
It's just a simple click.
Yeah.
The step sequencer, because again, on a slow sequence like this, gate is kind of irrelevant.
Right.
But the step sequencer is sort of like, we mentioned it on the multi-poly and the mod wave. They have 4, A, B, C, and D. Right. Whereas the Wavestate, unfortunately, only has 1. That can modulate just about anything. Right. So, and that's what you want to throw in there.
And that's where, as we were talking before the stream, I think it was before the stream, maybe during the stream. I don't know. At some point we were talking about it was during the stream. Yeah. That's where I was liking it more to the SQ44, SQ64. Yeah. Because those 4 lanes, the SQ64 has 4 lanes. Right. That can be assigned to anything that you want. Right.
Which basically that's what they've done on the multi-poly and the mod wave. They've built in an SQ64 on top of timing, pitch, and shape. Yeah. And that gets really wild when you have 4 different parameters. If you have all of those, going through the shape, with all the ratcheting and stuff that can go on with that, it's pretty crazy.
Hey Jack, so you could do that. I don't know that they wouldn't talk to each other.
That'd be the problem.
But
if your clock's running at the same rate,
the clock's running at the same would be running at the same rate.
You might be able to,
fake it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be. it wouldn't be the same as just having a timing line per lane.
Right.
And basically, if you would want to...
But you could have a timing line per instance.
Right.
The thing I will say about that is that depending on your computer, Wavestate native can be a little processor intensive, especially as you start adding more and more things for it to do. It does get kind of processor intensive. The other this past Monday night, I think I had like four instances of Wavestate native going, and I got a couple.
Wasn't it Monday where you had the CPU kind of peaking a little bit?
Yeah, it was Monday. I had a couple because I had like 3 or 4 Wavestates, a multi-poly native, and then a Dawson Zyklop, which is also kind of processor intensive. So yeah, I was pushing it pretty hard, and then all the real time, because I'm doing all the real time processing instead of doing everything in audio. It really pushes the processor really hard.
I'm having an idea about the step sequence.
Okay, let's go. Let's.
Because you can use shape with that. Why don't we kick the resonance down and run that through the step sequence with the shape lane?
Yep.
Well, I should ask. We had that at what, like 50?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Because that'll be important when we actually decide what we're doing here.
Right.
So we don't want to go negative because I'm going to keep the resonance at 0, so any negatives are just going to be zero.
Lost.
Yeah.
Lost, yeah.
It would be, just a null instance, basically. So let's do 1 in 100. In the 60s somewhere. Now, go in here. That'll be in your generators. I think. Yeah. There it is.
Yep.
For the sake of argument, you can see it. The dots moving. Let's make it a bit more intense, just to sort of illustrate what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, it's using. I'm like, why? I'm thinking it's using the shape. Yes. I'm like, why is it doing that? But why is it sweeping?
But then if it hits, one of these all-ons,
right?
It just if it's an all-on for like 51%,
that's what it jumps to.
Yeah, it'll just jump there. Let's add some more envelopes in, or some more shapes rather.
Yeah.
Now that we've kind of found a way to make it interesting. Okay. Can't go wrong with that, except we already have one. Ratchets can be fun, even at slow speeds when you're playing with the resonance.
So these will also be affecting our pitch.
No, because I turned that off.
Oh,
but I can turn it back on.
I thought it was still turned on.
No, but I turned the pitch off. It's a fun effect.
It's a fun effect. I don't think it works in this instance.
Not necessarily.
At least not with this sample set.
Right. But the other thing you can do with that, is it's a fun effect that you can then cut back off.
Right.
You can have it come in and out.
Well, I was saying we could have that come in and out based on either an envelope or an LFO.
Right.
The amount of that effect.
Yeah.
Everything modulates everything, or can.
It can. Minus, some things. I wish that I could route the effects through the step sequence. But you can't. And I have tried.
So you want to route the effects through the
I would like to route, different effects parameters, like especially with a bit crusher.
Yeah.
Like
okay,
I would love to route the timbre and the sample rate of the bit crusher through the step sequencer.
They're not modulatable?
Not that way. You can do it with a vector.
Huh.
I mean, the first place I tried that was actually the mod wave. Because I was curious, because I always do that through the chaos pad or one of the mod knobs or something like that. If I want to try something new, could I do it on lane A? Or, step sequencer A, step sequencer B, whatever. Nope.
Huh.
So then, it's like, well, maybe the Wavestate can. Nope. No.
Well, and that gets back to, a thing we were talking about earlier is that all of these synths share a common base architecture.
Yeah.
Which has
if
been.
If you can't do it on one, you probably can on another.
Right.
But...
And by the same token, you couldn't do it on a Kronos.
No.
Or you couldn't do it on, a Triton.
Yeah.
Because or an X2 or an X3, all the M30, all of these things, this architecture has been something that Korg has been using.
Yeah.
For decades, since the M1.
Yeah.
And I've said this on the stream before, that was a revelation to me.
The M1.
Well, no, the commonality of the architecture between across everything that Korg has done since then.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if the M1 being a revelation, it was to a lot of people.
Oh, it was absolutely.
I never knew until very, very recently when I was digging through samples on here that I need to get a radius. That the bass for Seinfeld was on the M1.
Yeah.
And it's in here.
Yeah, it is.
Which I love, and I have wasted a lot of time just noodling around with that sound.
It's a great sound.
Yeah, it is. But I should be sound designing. Nope.
Well, and that brings up a thing. In your work in particular, the custom sounds are a must. But there are some lovely presets.
There really are.
In here, and I overuse the Iceland piano.
Yeah, you can, and I know, I can't think of her artist name off the top of my head. It's an artist from Philly that does, industrial dark wave type music with a Wavestate on stage.
Sure.
But she's not building her own stuff. She just plays presets. It's a great preset machine, and I don't, if someone says, I want a Wavestate, but I'm not really all that great at sound design, will I get anything out of it? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All of these.
Yeah, all of them.
There's a few lovely sounds on the opsix that I just love.
Yeah.
I've not found as many that I am in love with in the factory set for the multi-poly.
The multi-poly I played with a few when I got it, because that was actually my multi-poly was a present from some very generous friends of mine. That I played music for their wedding, and it wasn't just that I played it, we composed it on the Wavestate.
Sure.
And, I didn't charge them a thing for it, and I wasn't even expecting anything in return for it. Like, they're just that good of friends of mine.
Sure.
she showed up a few weeks after they had gotten married, and after I played it, she said, "I have something for you." She held up the brown multi-poly box. And it was just, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was, well, first of all, an immediate thank you, but then it was like,
Yeah.
F you for that. Like, you know, I know I played your wedding and everything, but my God, like, that, you know, that's, they're not, they're 800, I think. 8 or 9.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like, dude, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know.
Tony's commenting on the radius. Tony, you have a radius, right? Or had one. Has a decimator between the filters can be accessed by the synths.
Mm-hmm. See, but that, you know, the decimator on the Wavestate is just an example.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to be able to do the ring mod in particular.
Sure.
The ring mod algorithms on the Wavestate are gnarly, and I love them.
Yeah.
I use them a lot. But anyway, you know, I got the multi-poly out. I played with the Sawyer sweep, you know, obviously, because, you know, Rush. But yeah, that was one that I did not really sit and play with presets all that much. I just dug right in.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
The Mod Wave, I played around with a lot of presets. I like a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
This one, the Wavestate, I had it for 3 or 4 months, maybe even close to half a year before I even sat down and even attempted to build a patch with it, because I knew, like, as far as complex synthesis,
you've had 2.
Okay. As far as complex synthesis, I cut my teeth on FM.
Mm-hmm.
So the opsix and the Wavestate were the first 2 Raspberry Pis that I got.
Yeah.
But I just had no concept of how to do anything with the Wavestate. You know, looking at presets doesn't help much.
No, it really doesn't with this. A lot of sense it does.
But they're fun to play.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but, you know, I don't know what tutorial I watched, or it might not have even been that. It was just, you know, sit down in front of it and work, you know, and figure it out.
Every time
I clicked so hard with it.
Every time I did that, I would walk away frustrated.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to try this, and this thing sat. I was going to sell it, honestly. And
I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad I didn't, because that has opened up so many worlds for me.
Yeah. As I started fooling with it, and again after seeing Ian's video,
mm-hmm.
which I think was like new the day I watched it, it's like I was like, oh, yeah,
right,
yeah, that's how. Of course, that's how that works.
Yeah,
you know, it was one of those kind of deals. The only S plus S synth. What's the S and S or S plus sample and except Morpheus. So you are now going to keep. Tony's been going back and forth on whether or not he's.
I've been following.
You've been following, okay.
Yeah. I tried to talk him into keeping the mod wave, but you know.
Yeah. Well, see, I'd like him to hold on to the mod wave long enough for me to save the $450 that he wants for it. You know.
Yeah.
Sampling. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, Tony. Yeah, I'd like him to hold on to the mod wave long enough for me to save up the money to buy it from him.
Right.
Because he's already got it, the tall dog case.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I with that, and he's got extra sets of the. Oh, you're keeping that
keeping the mod wave.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could help you come to that decision. But no, I honestly got my mod wave before I even dug into the Wavestate, and quite frankly, learning that.
Okay, so you are going to eventually be selling the one you have. That's right. And so we've both been following along with you, but we're not keeping up. So.
Yeah. But now learning the mod wave and getting some of the ins and outs of that let me know what I was doing with the front panel and how to work with basic sounds on it. It was just still, how do I build a wave sequence again?
Yeah, right.
You know, and finally I just sat down and did it. And, you know, for some reason it, you know, once I actually tried it, it made immediate sense.
Yeah, I one thing that I've always had, so I describe my relationship with Korg is, and you mentioned that, you did mention that the other day, Tony, and I don't think that I have anything that would be interesting to you, to be honest, that I'm considering getting out the door. I know effects pedals was on your list, and I was going through those the other day, and I don't have anything particularly unique. You know, I've just got most of it's run of the mill with a couple of exceptions, but we can talk about that offline in another conversation. I'll jump over your Discord and talk about that. The one of the problems that I've always had with Korg has been their displays.
Mm-hmm.
And these
I
don't
will
help.
agree.
And this goes back. I mean,
right.
You know.
No, I agree with that. I mean, now that I've learned how to use the editor, I much prefer it.
Yeah.
You know, to working with this display, but you know, when I learned the Wavestate, I had the librarian, but it didn't really click in my head. The editor software, you know, maybe that could be easier. You know, I learned everything. I toughed it out and learned everything just straight on the hardware. And then when I, you know, started looking at the editor software, I'm an idiot.
It's like, I could have had it easier.
Yeah, you know, I could have had it a lot easier, but frankly, you know, who's to say? But I don't know that I would have become as in tune with the instrument itself if I was using the editor software all the time.
Sure.
Like, all of this, you know, the Wavestate to me, followed closely by the opsix, to be honest, is so second nature.
Sure.
You know, just doing everything with that. I mean, with some of the things that I can do on the opsix, some ideas have been pilfered from Oscillator Sync, because that dude does awesome stuff.
Amazing stuff.
But, you know, taking the concept and then doing my own stuff with it.
Right.
Like, pretty much if I'm building my own sound on the opsix anymore, it's rare that I will use one of the standard FM algorithms. I just go straight to the user one.
Yeah, I haven't played with the user.
Because you can do feedback loops that way. And, you know, FM, that's pretty useless to do a feedback loop, but with the ring that they have in there, doing a ring feedback, you know, one on ring, the other one on FM, excellent for, you know, some noise that still has musicality to it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that he does that I do a lot of as well is, I think it's just the standard filter mode. I'd have to pull it up. See, and that's the way to learn. County Fair. That's, you know, all the Raspberry Pis I learned straight on hardware.
See, I think the ModWave, most of the functionality of the ModWave I might be able to grasp on the hardware. I mean, now I've already got it. I've already got the native software. I bought all the native software. Yeah.
The problem with the ModWave is trying to do any kind of sequence on the hardware. Because this is not so bad because it's meant to do wave sequences. You know, the screen is, you know, when you turn it on, the wave sequence is there. Yeah. You have to dig for it on the ModWave hardware, and it honestly it's not as elegant as the Wavestates is.
The ModWave, to me, I mean, the sequencer is obviously a big part of it.
It's wildly powerful, but it's not as intuitive as this one.
Well, and I think that, to me, the ModWave is not as much about the sequence as other aspects of the wavetable synthesis. And the unique thing to me about the ModWave is that it does, and the thing that makes it way up on my list of important synthesizers, is it does a true morph
Yes.
between
Oh yeah.
The waves.
Right.
And unlike a lot that just do a fade, this does. You're actually morphing between two wavetables while you're moving through the wavetables.
Right. And do that. Put your A/B blend on one of your sequence. On step sequence A. Put your position on step sequence B.
Yeah.
And set all that to different values and just have some fun with that chaos. I agree with that because you know what? That would solve my vector envelope problem.
Sure, it would. Absolutely. Well, and Tony, I think the discussion has been on your Discord or in chat on your channel about what Korg needs to make is a workstation that is the PiKorgs all in one box.
I would even include the PiKorg Neo.
I would too. It's such an underrated synth.
It's and there are two reasons I don't have. Well, three. It has really dropped in price because I think Korg realized that they were charging a bit too much for that. Like I've seen at least on Zounds and Sweetwater, it's permanently at I think it's down at 700 now.
Is it?
Yeah. So there's that. But the original price was are you kidding me?
It's like $1,100 originally.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
B, cool sounds, but they don't really serve my purpose.
Right.
And 3, least importantly, that thing is the purest of pure whites. I'd have it so dirty, so quick, and I wouldn't want that. See, and that's what I see. Every time I see a video of someone playing it, it's these sounds are so cool.
Yeah.
But they're just, and I'm not discounting that it's a cool synthesizer. It's just not what I need.
It's not what you need necessarily. Yeah.
I don't know how I would use one if I had one, basically. If someone gave me one, I would not tell them to just, I don't need that, take it away from me. But no, gladly, hand it over. I will take a new toy.
And then you'd figure out how to use it.
I would figure out how to work it in.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, too. They have not come out with a native version of that.
I know. Well, I'm wondering, it's still, I think, a little bit too early to tell, but I've had conversations with this that I think, I'm wondering if Korg is sending the PiKorg Neo the way of the drum log.
Well,
gradual price decreases and then a discontinue.
Yeah, I mean I don't think it got the market penetration that they would have hoped for.
No, well, I think part of that was a mistake in the price tag.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
Well, and then right behind that, the Micro Korg 2 came out. So you have two synthesizers coming out, both of which powerful in different ways. Both of them with a vocoder.
Yeah, and the Micro Korg 2 significantly less expensive.
Yes.
Although I will say this, there are. Luke posted his video earlier today about doing a song with one instrument using the Blofeld, the Waldorf Blofeld. The sound design. The sound design paradigm.
No, they really aren't. I had one and I liked it at the start, but the more I played with it, the less I found that I jived with it.
Yeah, I have that problem with all kinds of drum machines.
Mm-hmm.
I got a bin of drum machines over here, and that may be something I don't know. Tony, we'll talk. I do have a couple interesting drum machines. We'll talk about that. Oh shoot, lost my train of thought. Daggone it. This is what happens when you get old.
I'm already there.
I stand up and forget why I stood up.
Yeah.
So, menu 60 user interface. Yeah, that's
yes.
Wavestate. Sure, there's good ones out there. Absolutely. I don't know any in particular. Well, let's see. Who is doing sound for?
I don't know any off the top of my head.
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I'm sure there are good ones out there. There's some really
What's
good
his
sound
name?
designers out there.
Oh, I have my phone here. I have a name in mind that I know sells sound packs, and the videos I've watched of his are very, very good.
Okay.
Let me pull up his name, because I think it's right, but I don't want to say it out loud and have
it be
Jack
wrong,
not
yeah.
be able to,
Maybe,
find it.
so you're talking about the ones from Korg.
Oh.
I don't know. I've not listened to any of them. But there are a number of good, a good number of good presets, the factory presets, or performances.
I was right. His name is Waveformer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, his work is excellent, and he does sell some of it. Like, if you can find him on YouTube, you'll be able to find access to his sound packs.
Yeah.
I've never looked into the price, but I don't think they're that bad.
Yeah.
But worth every penny if you decide to get some. His work is phenomenal.
Yeah, and Jack, I've not looked at any of the Korg sound packs for the. Found it good. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've not looked at any of the stuff from Korg for it. One of the problems, I think, and we've discussed this on the channel in the past, is one of the problems that I have with the Wavestate is if I design something on the Wavestate with user samples, and this is also actually is more true on the multi-poly, where I use user wavetables.
Yeah.
If I do it on the hardware, I can't move that
Right.
off to
the native.
To the native.
Yeah.
If I just start on native, I can get it.
That's so weird.
But actually, I don't even know if the wavetables move with it when I do it out of native. I've not really checked.
That's really strange, though. But yeah, like I understand why that would be a major problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. And it's like because I've got a few performances that I have saved on the hardware. They're stuck there.
Yeah.
I can't use them when I go camping on the
Right.
on the laptop.
Yeah.
And we'll look before after we're done here. We'll look. I'll put that link also in the show notes for today.
For Waveformer.
Yeah, for Waveformer.
Okay, yeah.
We'll put his
Just
link
so
to
it's
his
there.
channel. Yeah, I usually try and link things that get mentioned when I can. So I will say this has been a lot of fun.
Yes,
it
has.
I've lost track of how long we've been on the air here.
I have no idea. And I mean, I don't, up to this point, my process, especially where sound design is concerned, has been a very private affair.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I feel like I'm gatekeeping some major secret. Like, the sort of stuff that I do, it has its own flavor, and there are certain things that I do that I will never tell anyone, because that's me.
That's you.
That's me. But making these long pads like this and whatnot, the Wavestate is made to be able to do do stuff like that. It's just a matter of like, okay, pick a few sounds, make them last a really long time, crossfade really slow in between. Like that's not the mystery of my sound design. The mystery is what I'm doing, a lot of what I'm doing underneath it. And that's the sort of stuff, like, I'm not going to tell,
That's the secret sauce.
Yeah, because that's what makes my work what it is.
Yeah.
But no, like, it's been a very private affair, and, I've been very reticent to do anything like this on my own channel. Just because I feel like if I sit down and I'm going to design a patch from scratch, just for a fun stream or something like that, number one, I feel like I would forget to talk a lot of the time, and it wouldn't be a whole lot of fun.
Well, it's when you're doing it like this, it's important to say what you're doing, even though people can see it.
Right.
It is important to talk through.
Right. Whereas in an instance like this, where, I get to come down here and go through the starting off process of a patch, which will ultimately be yours, but with the flavor of, if you want to do something like this, you know, you're not having to sit here and figure it all out. I can talk to you about, like, you know, up your crossfades, you know, for a pad, make your time steps really long, you know, things like that. You know, that's a way to make my process a little less isolating, I guess.
Sure.
But anyway, you know, it's been nice to be able to do this, and as opposed, I know it's not on my own channel, and it won't really satisfy my own viewers who are like, will you ever stream? Like, I don't know, maybe, you know, eventually. But no, what I want to do, and I am planning on this, so if anybody has subscribed to my channel, it's something to look forward to when I get my space reset. I finally have my notes typed up and printed out for 4 of my patches that I've made a set list out of on here, that I'm just going to stream straight performance.
Awesome.
You know, because that's the other thing that I love about Wavestate, multi-poly mod wave. I think the opsix has it too. The smooth sound transitions. That you
I don't think opsix does.
I don't know. But, you know, to
power it on.
To be able to...
We're going to jump over to the DAW. I'm going to go ahead and set up an external instrument track real quick. For that, let's move that out of the way, and we'll go here, insert MIDI track, and before I make any mistakes and get weird things showing up, we'll do that, and that'll be fine. And let's grab instruments.
It does have it.
Does it?
Yeah, under the control settings on here, currently at 5 seconds, so that's, you know. But anyway, you know, to be able to do that I can set up a set list and be able to say, I'm going to start here, move into the next song, move into the next one. And it's not a perfect fade out, but it's enough that the previous sound will ring long enough that I can get the next one started, so that there aren't any moments of silence.
And I see my performance being based partially in Ableton Live. And so, you know, my answer there is, because some of the instruments are going to be coming off the computer, but my answer there of sorts is, if I'm going to do a performance, the first, and of course I'm waving at the screen, you all can't see, like, let's say this is the first song, the second song is over here, and there's a transformative segment, because you can do the same thing in Bitwig, you know? Or any sequencer, really. I mean, if you're a Studio One user that has a performance mode that is pretty good, that deals with transitioning between songs in a live set, and that's relatively new. It came actually after I stopped using Studio One, but
the only thing that I have to be careful with when I'm doing what I'm going to be doing, you know, because I want to make, like, Wavestate concerts, as it were. Like, I'd like to make those kind of a regular thing on my channel, you know, to showcase work that has either already been released, maybe not released, you know, just to revisit things that I've already done, to also to illustrate the fact that there is so much randomization in my work that the sound palette will always be the same. That you'll be, you know, a listener can say, yeah, that's X song, but it will never be, you know, the pings, the swells, all that stuff will never happen at exactly the same time. The wave sequences will never be identical. You know, my mod wave drones will, there's even more randomization in those. But, you know, the thing I'll have to be careful with is making sure that, you know, as I do this, like, okay, I'm wrapping up the first song, I better make sure my octave ranges are where I need for the start of the next one. Or, you know, you know, flub that, and, you know, it would just be a major problem.
I will say that as a performance controller, this thing is amazing, but also equally good as a performance controller is Artorias. I don't like the Mark III as much as the Mark II, but, you know, the Mark III, if you're in the Native Instruments world, is NKS compatible now.
I just, for me at least, well, I mean, I have the Wavestate SE, I ought to take advantage of that.
There you go. The
61 keys,
Yeah.
Like, well, and having that too, this will be kind of like my last gushing about the Wavestate and everything.
Well, that's what we're here to do.
I know. Like,
that's what we're here to do tonight, is not discuss about the Wavestate.
The Mark II was what I needed because I was actually starting to build patches where I was having voice stealing.
Sure.
Like, my drones were getting so big that I would lose the pedal bass. Like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Now I don't, it's like, I don't want to reel myself in. I want my dreams to be as big, the sounds to be as big as I'm dreaming them to be. So I got the Mark II. That's been fine. I didn't get the SE for the even more voices, which is just an obscene amount. Like, I'll never run into that with that. I needed that because I was getting so tired of patches where I was actually playing something over the pads and everything, constantly having to hit the octave buttons, or what's helpful with the Wavestate is you can switch the octave register just in one of the sub menus for the performance. I was really getting tired of doing that.
Sure.
With the 61 keys though, and on top of that, the key action is amazing.
Well, it's that real touch keyboard. It's the same one that's in the Chronos.
The key action is great.
It is an amazing instrument to play.
It is second only to, the real piano that I used to have, but having that bigger keyboard and more room to roam with both hands has brought back a lot of what I used to be able to do as a classically trained pianist.
Right.
Like, I feel like I'm playing the way I used to.
Yeah, and it's like I almost purposely have not brought the 88 key weighted keyboard in here.
And when have I ever listened to capitalism, Tony? I'm not going to start now.
Buy two. Take two, they're small.
Yeah.
One thing that I don't like about the Real Touch keyboard, and this is a personal thing because I got spoiled very early on in my synth career, is that it doesn't have poly aftertouch.
Yeah, I know. That annoys me too.
And that's why I spent the extra money on this.
But the flip side of that, for me at least personally, is I don't need it. I don't even need regular aftertouch in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's so, there are a couple of times where on the Wavestate SE, I'm like, I could maybe program some pitch waiver into, the aftertouch, but even then I'm like, I don't.
So I love being able to have per note filter control.
Fair enough.
That's like, so the first time I had an instrument with polyphonic aftertouch was the VFX SD way back.
Yeah.
And I lost it when I sold that, and I didn't get it again in anything until I bought this controller a year or so ago, and it's like I don't use it a lot.
Yeah.
But it's there when I want it.
Right.
And having per note filter or any number of things. Didn't need it until I got it.
Best of us.
The same way. That's exactly how I am, Tony.
The one that I'm really thankful for the aftertouch on is the opsix SE. Because I have.
Oh man, yeah.
I have the SE of both of them.
Yeah.
Because I found it even more important for the opsix because the sort of patches that I build on that are not so drony. Like they actually require playing up and down the keyboard. The aftertouch on that's something that I've actually been using.
I can imagine a lot of really fun things you could do in FM with aftertouch.
But that was where I was going with the opsix. My other favorite thing to do with that is to take
Hang on, you're punching on it. Let's get some video for them to see.
Yeah.
And I'm going to drive. Let's see, camera 2. Tilt up.
Is to use this, the noise sample and hold. That's the only thing I wanted to highlight was that. Use the noise sample and hold on, I believe it's filter FM. It's filter or filter FM is one of the two. use that and drive it into the resonance of a bandpass filter.
Oh wow!
Because as you modulate the rate of the sample and hold noise, the resonant pings will change how fast they happen. So you'll get like individual pings, or you'll get flutters, or hardly
neat.
anything at all.
Yeah.
I used that on my track Miklikvetler. At the start of it, it's just that in isolation, and it's just so odd, but in a good way. And then what I ultimately did for that particular song was I did a 6-operator user algorithm, but each pair was like their own 2-operator synthesizer.
Okay.
And then I could turn them on and off to bring in more sound or less. And it just, by the time I had all 6 on, it was a cacophony, but in the best possible way. It served the atmosphere that I was trying to create perfectly. But yeah, like I love, as far as pure sound design and as opposed to sample and sound design, because I can warp these samples on here into stuff you've never heard before.
Sure.
And that's another thing that's cool about the Wavestate, is you can do that. Pure sound design, the opsix is my playground. I love that thing.
Now, see, I dive deep in the
that
in the
one too.
multi-poly.
The multi-poly is a close second with everything that I can do on that. But just starting from a blank slate on the opsix, especially with the ability to do the user algorithm,
and that's something
so
I've
freaking cool.
Yeah, the user algorithms I haven't even looked at yet.
That is how, and again, this is one that I watched his video on it and was just scrawling handwritten notes as he was going through it. When Oscillator Sync built the Buchla synth in the opsix.
I haven't watched that video yet.
Oh, you should. Yeah. The only thing that I changed in mine was the effects choice. Other than that, I just literally built a clone of what he did, because I know what I'm doing with this gear.
Right.
Not like that.
Yeah.
That is a special degree of really being able to dive in there and think really differently about what you've got in front of you to be able to do that.
And I'm kind of spoiled. If I want a Buchla, I load up the Arturia.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you have it there. You don't have to build one. But it's just, there's something really cool about getting those Krell type sounds with FM noise happening behind it.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
It's really strange.
That's the kind of thing too that I would probably head towards Reactor. And in fact, somebody's already done it. It's, the Crude ensemble.
Yeah.
Which actually figures into something else I'm working on at the moment.
But yeah, when I say they're scrawling down literally everything that he was doing while he was doing it, I would put in his initial values, and then later on he'd change it, so I'd have to arrow back. Oh wait, actually set it to this.
Well, a lot of sound design too. It's like you start down a path, and then you get to a point where we need to change this thing we did back here for it to actually work. Well, I'm going to say I've said this a number of times, but this has been fantastic.
Yes, it has.
I'm thrilled that you're able to come down. But it's dinner time for sure.
Sure is.
So we're going to do some food of some sort.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
And thank you, folks, for coming along for the ride. And this has been a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll do some more.
I'd be glad to. It wouldn't even necessarily have to be Wavestate. We could dive into, looking at the Polybrood, I've never even laid hands on one of those.
The Polybrood
they're wonderful.
They're wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I've got to take 5 in a bag out in the living room. That's the one. That's like my traveling synth right now.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
I'm taking it to Paul's tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the one I've been taking to Paul's mostly. I've got a Cobalt 5S up there too.
Yeah. And like I said, I'd be there at Paul's, but I got a big project, and that that will be from the moment I wake up till the moment it's time for bed for me to deep clean and get my studio in there.
That's cool. Well, we've got a big crowd at Paul's tomorrow. I think there's already 7 people.
And how big of a space?
not a big enough space for 7 people. Now,
well, and that would be another 3 hours. Look at us go.
Yeah,
that would be
yeah.
another issue with me is,
right.
no functioning immune system.
Yeah.
That would make me feel pretty cagey.
So, now there is one of the guys does like to set up in the kitchen as opposed to setting up in the family room where the rest of us are set up. It's adjoining, It's so there is there is some space to spread out. We just have to run long enough cables to get to whatever you're playing.
Right. So it'd be workable.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is definitely something. I mean, he mentioned that a number of months ago, and it's been in the back of my mind ever since. But just haven't been able to do it.
Yep. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. All right. Well, that's it. It is now 8 o'clock. We've been on for 3 hours, as the Wabbit says. Good to see you, Wabbit. Thank you for hopping in. And we are going to go ahead and end it here. But this has been a lot of fun. We're going to do more of these, this kind of thing. I want to get Kurt Harvelack over here at some point too.
Yeah.
And get his fingers on some stuff.
And I will, we do another one like this. Because we have the space over there.
Yeah.
I will bring either the opsix or the Wavestate SE.
Okay.
And because seriously, number one, they're a sight to behold.
Oh, they're gorgeous.
And just, they're so much fun to play. They
all right.
Really
well, sounds good. All right. Again, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm going to go ahead and press the end show button now, and we'll talk to you all later. I will be back Monday night at the regular time with something. I haven't got a plan yet, but I'll be back Monday to make some noise, and we'll see you all then. Thanks.